Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. This is part 2 of a big Dressrosa arc video series. I do have part 1 as part of a playlist with all of my One Piece videos down in the description box, so if you have not yet watched part 1, go ahead and do so for more context on my thoughts. I'm not going to waffle on too much with an introduction because I think just getting straight into the reviews will be so much better, but I am reading chapter 751 through to 801 in this video, and this is reading One Piece for the first time, and that also covers volume 75 through to 80, and that is the entire second half of Dressrosa. I really do appreciate when you guys like the video, so please do like if you end up enjoying this. And yeah, I only have a couple of comments to make before jumping back into Dressrosa. The biggest one is the topic of Sabo. Now, Sabo is obviously a character who, I think deep down I knew he wasn't really dead. I rewatched my post-war arc video, and yeah, I even say in that video, there's part of me that's not sure he's actually dead. And I was very conflicted in part 1 of when Sabo returned, and I even said it feels like Sabo is just Ace's replacement. There was a fantastic comment about Sabo by Roxanne on the previous video, so do check it out because it's like a really super long comment that really contextualizes so much with Roxanne's feelings towards Sabo, as well as helping me to understand Sabo as a character too, without spoilers of course. And there were just some things that Roxanne said that really hit close to home. So even though I am still in that realm of Sabo is a replacement for Ace right now, I feel like because I've binge read this series and Ace meant so much to me and I'm still grieving still. It's been what, 2.5 months since I first read Marineford, so I don't think my opinions on Sabo is going to change just like that, but it does help me to accept Sabo a little bit more, and I will be using my own thoughts, feelings, opinions when reading part 2 when it comes to Sabo, because I did get quite a few comments about Sabo, and like guys, I haven't written him off or anything. I am open to seeing him flourish and develop and hopefully become that brother to Luffy that Ace should have been. But also the fact that I need to see Sabo and Ace as two separate entities, two separate people, because it's not fair on either of them by, you know, saying, oh, Ace is so easily replaced by this brother who we only got like a little sprinkling of before. And it's not fair to Sabo as well to write him off as that kind of character. I am keeping my heart open to the possibility of liking Sabo. It's just grief. Grief is still talking, so I feel like if I'd read this weekly, I would have most likely accepted him a lot quicker. But right now I'm just a little bit conflicted, a little bit confused, and honestly I'm just ready to get back into One Piece right now, so I'm going to shut up. Honestly, One Piece has been helping my mental health so much this year, so it's about time that I came back to this world. So let's get back into reading, and I really do hope you end up enjoying part 2 of Dressrosa. In chapter 751, it was nice to jump straight back into the action because I do believe that we had that cliffhanger in chapter 750 that I ended Dressrosa part 1 on, was Sabo getting ready to sort of fight with Bastille. I keep wanting to call him Lucille for some reason. I'm like, this isn't The Walking Dead. Already I am starting to see some differences between Sabo and Ace and their sort of fighting styles. I mean, I wasn't really sure how Sabo does it. He definitely doesn't have another devil fruit. So he does have these kind of like claw-like hands. I think it's just like part of a costume. It's not like his actual hands, and they're more like claws. Claws designed to tear down the accumulation, and I can crush a human skull. So I think the whole like dragon aspect of it probably ties to the fact that he is working under Dragon and he is the leader of the Revolutionary Army. And so that must just be like his fighting style from that. It wasn't really explained and I might be totally off the mark, so again, please do correct me if I'm wrong. But it is great to see Sabo do something different to Ace here, because when he was fighting in the games to get Ace's Devil Fruit, we did see parts of his way of fighting. He was like dodging a lot and doing a lot of this, that, and the other, but it was more like he was in disguise, and I didn't really get a great sense of how he actually fights. But here we have him against Bastille, and he is just, he's great actually, he's great. He manages to crush the mask that Bastille is wearing, and he ends up getting KO'd. I can crush a human skull as easy as an egg. I mean, Sabo, it's a bit extreme, but I don't think that his fingers being dragon claws is more to do with the fact that he works for Dragon, more so than he actually has dragon claws. And one thing I do like about Sabo is that he is being very honest about his position being a brother of Luffy and Ace, even though just being affiliated with either of them does get you into so much trouble. So the fact that Sabo is so honest and open about it is very admirable. The three of us shared ritual cups. We are linked by a bond that cannot be severed. And even Fujitora says, a troublesome trio of brothers, if I've ever seen one. Yeah, 100%. I feel like their personalities and the way that they are definitely paired so brilliantly together. And considering One Piece is filled with all of these different colourful characters, it does feel like Sabo, Ace, and Luffy have a way of grounding the story a little bit with this sort of story of brotherhood. Even though that hasn't exactly been focused on, when you think of the emotional bond and the emotional weight of the story behind it, you do see the ties between them. And it's nice to see the cups at Ace's grave too, which some people did point out in the previous video. And I did wonder what Sabo's reaction was when he saw that Ace died. And it does seem like he gets the newspaper where it says Ace dies, and he seems to be crying. He was obviously like really upset by the news, as he would be. But I don't know where he was at this point. I don't know why he wasn't on his way to Ace. All of that hasn't been explained just yet. This is the answer I've been dying for since Sabo came back. And Oda's just like not giving me it. Unless he has, and I've just went over it. But I don't think he has. Like, I'm getting tiny little panels every now and then of this backstory. So Sabo is really holding his own, and again, I am open to him. Musi is the absolute MVP of this arc, by the way. Getting Luffy from one place to the next, just, probably one of my favourite characters of all time. Luffy picking up the transponder snail and saying, hello, my name's Luffy, future king of the pirates, is never going to get old for me, so I continue to love that. And it's actually Robin. Robin is telling them that they have the keys for Law's cuffs, and they need to get them off him ASAP so that he can get up, get back to fighting. Because this arc has definitely been, I think maybe since Marineford, the most battle heavy arc I've read so far, especially since we did have the games, lots of fights in there, and now we have like Doflamingo, Law, Fujitora, just so much going on. I cannot wait for Robin and Luffy to like reunite and things, because it's been so long. It feels like it's been a long time since they've been split up again, so hopefully I get to see them fighting side by side. Maybe, I don't know, they never seem to do this anymore, but she is on her way to Luffy and Law with Leo and Rebecca, and I think Barto as well. Oh my god, I love him. Anyway, it was nice that he's back into Dressrosa. It felt like no time had passed at all, and it's been probably like 2 weeks since I read the first part, or something like that from now, and mainly because I've just been so busy doing loads of other things. In the back of my mind, I've always been like, come on, get back to Dressrosa, and here we are. Oh, we're gonna get Trafalgar Law's backstory? I'm so happy. I can't wait to find out more about him. I finished chapter 752, and I finished volume 75. Oh my god. Still can't believe I've read 75 volumes of One Piece. And yeah, it seems like we are gonna maybe get some more backstory. Where's volume 76? Oh, the black pages. Oh, they're black pages. No. Oh no. Okay, so we're not getting Law's backstory just now. Okay, that's fine. We've got plenty of time. Plenty of time for backstory. Again, I've still got like 50 chapters, 49 chapters to read or whatever of this arc. It's reminded me of how much I really enjoyed part 1, because again, all the threads are coming together and all the people are coming together too, and it seems like we're heading in this direction of potentially this big fight between, well, almost everyone versus Doflamingo. But I still remember the fact that all of the Straw Hats and like Law and the people on our side have these bounties on their heads, so the whole town is, oh, it's just chaos, isn't it? It's just chaos. One of the things I love about this arc so much is the chaos. And it's, again, highlighted so brilliantly. And just how, well, not exactly messy, because I feel like Oda doesn't do messy panels. But it just feels like so much chaos in a lot of the panels. Even when there isn't that much action, it still seems like there's things moving about and people running or just stuff happening, essentially. Like, this is just not boring at all. So Doflamingo has stopped Law. Doflamingo has stopped. See, I'm just passionate, okay? I'm just so happy I get to talk about One Piece again. Law and Luffy have been stopped in this tunnel by Doflamingo. He managed to put them in a trap. Two of the guys, I can't remember their names, they end up saving them. Stop right there, don't lay a finger on Straw Hat. And they're like, are you okay, Straw Hat? Just like their faces, like they're just so happy to have helped. And it's another marionette that Doflamingo had put out, so it wasn't actually Doflamingo. So that part of his power is probably the most scariest, because you could have this epic battle with him, and at the end of it, when you find out it's a marionette, Like, well, what was the point in all of that, you know? Where is the real Doflamingo? Is he even there? Is he even on Dressrosa? You know, it's like, he could be anywhere in the world, and he's just using these marionettes. I'm not too sure how the power works, just that he is sending these sort of clones of himself. They keep getting destroyed. I think this is like the second marionette that we've seen. I think, if memory serves me right, I could be wrong. It reminds me of Bon Clay and his powers, where he could change his appearance to be anyone, and we're like, well, who is the real person, you know? So there is that whole deceptive side of it all that I think Doflamingo really pulls off. Lots of fighting going on. Luffy is determined to get to Doflamingo. Like, he is furious with him. He's pissed off. So I really do believe that Luffy is gonna kick his ass. I loved seeing the Tontattas helping Robin, Rebecca, and Barto with almost kind of flying. They're at the Tontata Airlines, which again, I love that whole system of like what these people have set up in their sort of own little world. Again, Ferry, Gulliver's Travels, the Borrowers, things like that. But it's Barto when they're kind of, well, they're being brought down. They're not flying because they're too big, but like they're being brought down by the Tontattas. And it's just Barto's face there. He's like, I feel like a balloon, wahoo. He's just like, he's having the time of his life. He is enjoying himself so much. And considering I literally did, in the first part of part one, have this thing against Barto because I thought he was all of these bad things, but he is my favourite character in Dressrosa right now, okay? Like, I genuinely feel like he is number one for me right now. Oh, I just love him so much. And it's weird because he's getting more page time than the Straw Hats, really. Like, I miss Nami and surprisingly Sanji. I miss Sanji right now. Chopper, Brook, they are on the next island, I believe. So, like, we haven't seen them in so long and I miss them. But because Barto has kind of, like, stolen the show in Dressrosa right now, it's helping me be distracted by the fact that I miss them. But yeah, the end of the chapter ended with a younger Law. And it looks like Doflamingo is like kind of almost the same age as he is now. So he must be quite older than Law. I don't know the age exactly. But there's Law. He's like strapped himself with what it looks like to be bombs. And he says, I want to destroy everything I see. I want to destroy it all. I was raised in the White Town. I don't have much longer to live. What does that mean? What does that mean? So he must get the devil fruit that he gets not long after this, right? And that must save his life. Like, how do we get from this Law who wants to destroy everything to being the Surgeon of Death to being the person who's helping us now and wanting to take down Doflamingo and stop his cruel reign? There is just so much intrigue right now that I have with this arc. It was also mentioned again, Doflamingo's brother, what was his name again? Parmesan? Comisan? Oh yeah, when Law says, I have no intention of turning out like you, I was saved. And then Doflamingo says, by whom? My brother Corazon. If you haven't gone soft, then why are you dying such a pathetic death? Yeah, with Law as a kid wanting to destroy everything, something that Corazon did helped him and saved his life. As has already been mentioned, but I'm just like even more intrigued by it because also didn't Doflamingo kill him? Didn't he kill his own brother? At least that's what they said. What's going on? I can put volume 75 away and get starting with volume 76. I love the kind of rainbow colours of the cover there. Saying gay rights to me. Finished chapter 753. Why do I like Bellamy so much now? Honestly, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird. After Jaya, I just was so happy to have never have seen him again. Then in Dressrosa Part 1, I was like, oh. And then he just kind of developed into something a bit more than he first initially appeared as. And the fact that he even confronts Doflamingo about the betrayal, about how there was an order to execute Bellamy from within Doflamingo's family. I think it's the Don Quixote family. It just shows you how much braver he has become. Because I don't even think I would confront Doflamingo. I mean, come on, have you seen him? Have you seen him? He's crazy. He's crazy. And the fact as well is that Doflamingo was saying, you've always wanted to be a pirate, but not I. I've never cared what I was, as long as it allowed me to tear down the world around me. And those kinds of people are the scariest people of all, if you ask me. Because now Doflamingo doesn't really fit into either the pirates or the government, really. Like, he's just doing his own thing, and he's causing as much destruction as he possibly can while doing that. And again, I'm not sure if he has any deeper meaning or deeper motives behind it, of like why he's this way, because I did mention maybe in the previous video about how some people are just born evil. Maybe Doflamingo has just been born evil. Maybe it just runs in the family, and maybe he doesn't need a reason for why he's doing all of these atrocious acts. He's just doing them because he finds it fun. But definitely interesting now that he's definitely not aligning himself with anyone but himself. He doesn't fit into any other category. He's just Doflamingo. And as a villain, love that. Being able to go back to the Smile Factory as well, which again was something that was set up in Punk Hazard. So I do like that we are resolving that in a way. I mean, it's not resolved yet, but to be able to go back to it and to acknowledge it is great because, again, the connections between the two are further solidified. But with the Tontata people who have been fooled and bamboozled into, you know, slaving away in the Smile Factory, to see them finally fight back is so satisfying. This punch here as well, there are so many satisfying punches in One Piece, and this is definitely one of them, especially since, you know, they're getting secret messages outside, which they say are the pink bees. I love that these Tontata people are using nature, and that's kind of like their magic in a way. You know, they're able to use their size and their sort of incorporation into nature to be part of this world. Like, we had the beetles that helped them fly before, and now we've got these pink bees that are showing these messages to the Tontatas and telling them to fight. So they're going to be fighting back now. So hopefully the Smile Factory will just come crumbling down. And I remember, is it Frankie and Senior Pink, I think, are fighting outside too, which I haven't seen just yet in the second half. But I'm looking forward to seeing that fight too. But if the Tontata people can release their own chains, I mean, yes, we've had the help from the Straw Hats, but to have them fight their own fights is great, because it's just like the Straw Hats have helped them get to a point where they can fight back. So let's get to fighting these bastards. Probably my favourite panel from this chapter is a lot of the gladiators that we fought with. Onward Straw Hat, we'll hold them off here. So that is just like a great way of, again, incorporating like how much Luffy has kind of touched everyone and his affiliations with everyone too. Treating people like people. His actions in part 1 have definitely come back to help in part 2. And that's something that Oda does really well. Consequences. Chapter 754. Barto, I love you. He's just... the way he's just... Oh, I keep saying it over and over again because he's like the biggest fanboy. It's like a morale boost, isn't it? He's really boosting morale right now, and he's like putting so much belief and faith into the Straw Hats. Like when he's watching Zoro fight Pika, Zoro doesn't need the morale boost, of course, because he's just incredible. The fight between him and Pika is wow. Like seriously, he's just doing brilliantly, and he's reminding us of his goal this entire time of being the best swordsman in the world. And I can totally believe it still watching this fight with Pika. It's just, it blows me away. Especially when you see the huge statue version of Pika there and Zoro using the three sword style 1080-pound Phoenix and just the yeah, you know. Oh god, I love him. Just so impressive. And then Barto, do you remember about my autograph on the bottom there too? Oh my gosh. Oh, just love it. I just love everything about this. Yeah, I think the Zoro versus Pika fight is like my favorite one so far. We also have with like Luffy and Law and Kairos, and they keep calling him Cabbage. And again, I wasn't going to use that as their nickname, but I'll just call them Cabbage too. They are against these huge puppets. They seem to be like these giant puppets, which I guess aren't people because the toys were turned back into people and these haven't been. So these must be genuine, huge, giant puppets that are just like alive right now. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's genuinely terrifying. Puppets scare me anyway. I feel like Goosebumps had a hand in that when I was a kid. I freaking loved as well when they're all fighting over who's going to take down Doflamingo. One thing that we haven't really seen before, I don't think, is when more than one person wants to take credit for taking someone down, or like wants to be the one to take someone down. Because it's usually just Luffy who does it. But when they're talking about who deserves to, like this personal score that they have, and Kairos is saying, I must bring an end to the tragedy of 10 years ago. And then Law's like, if we're basing this on time, my grudge started 13 years ago. And then Luffy says, then mine is 30. Cabbage, oh shut up, you're not older than me. I just love that because like Luffy will say anything, like he won't think, he'll just say it. I love that. Definitely quite a lot of humor right now. The birdcage is still trapping everyone and they're saying, this is Doflamingo's plan. Nobody's going to come out of this alive because Doflamingo won't want people to know the big plan, the big picture that's happening here in Dressrosa. So it's now an isolated part of the world. So really the only option to escape is to take down Doflamingo. So now everyone should be focusing their attention on that. But again, I just don't think everyone is. Because there are still some people who want the bounties of like God Usopp and Luffy. Again, God Usopp. And where is God Usopp right now? It was also nice to see Kinemon reunite with the samurai friend that he's been wanting to reunite with this entire time. I mean, I don't really wholly care too much about that storyline myself. It is great to say because again, I know that Wano's coming up, so I know this will all be important. But with everything else going on right now, it's the least interesting storyline at the minute. But it was a reunion that we've been waiting for a while, and I'm happy for him. Chapter 755 done. And why is this arc making me laugh so much? Like, seriously, there are so many good moments. A real man's fight is about to begin between Senor Pink and Frankie, apparently, and then we have Senor Pink saying diaper bombs, and then Frankie, nipple light special. Sure, real men. This is a real man's fight. I love that. So yeah, this manager of Smile Factory, Queen, came out and tried to stop the Tantatas from leaving, but Frankie's now inside the factory. I'm so glad because it feels like we've waited so long for this. So like this whole escape is inevitable. The takedown of Smile Factory is inevitable. There is no Princess Moncherie, I think her name is pronounced, there. She is actually somewhere else. I think she's in the palace and she is kept behind bars. He must desire her power, although at this point it is likely us that need it most. So that seems to be like maybe this princess has the power to stop Doflamingo. How? I do not know. But now this important factor of this arc is saving this princess, getting her out, potentially using her power against Doflamingo to stop him. So it was bullshit that she was ill, and these poor Tontada people have wasted so many years of their lives doing this stuff in the Smile Factory for her when she wasn't even there this entire time. And they know that now as well, so that must be crushing. But hopefully that does mean that they have no doubt that they need to escape this place, get the princess, and that these people have lied to them so that we can have this fight against them and turn everything in our favour. It was weird when Frankie kissed Queen. Hey, he stole my lips. What's the big idea? Why'd you do that? You better own up and be my boyfriend, you brute. It is just odd. That whole interaction was very odd. But you know, it is what it is. Frankie is really shining at the minute, so I'm really happy about that. And I am genuinely so excited to see this fight between Senor Pink and Frankie. Even though a man's fight, really, it's gonna be something. Chapter 756 was so good, I ended up ordering myself a Starbucks as a reward. Even though Robin and Barto are now with Luffy and Law, they don't have a key, Rebecca does. So, that's so infuriating because like I'm just like waiting for Law to be free. Because I do feel like he could put a stop to a lot of these fights very easily. Well, I guess actually is probably the point. This is probably why he doesn't have his hands free just yet. Because yeah, he could probably easily stop a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. So that explains that. It's just like, why? Why did Robin and Barto have to like drop while Rebecca stayed and she's on her way? Actually, who is she up against now? Gladius? Diamante. She is now face to face with Diamante. It's Robin and Barto who were confronted by Gladius. Oh, and it looks like Robin and Bardo are going to fight together because they're saying go ahead to the flower field on the 4th step. That's where Rebecca's going to be with the keys. So like they need to make a move on. But oh yeah, I'm going to see Robin and Bardo fight together. Oh, that's going to be so good. Sugar's awake. Oh, and you know what? I do quite like her. I do quite like her. She is just different. I like that in an antagonist. She's just a little bit kooky. She now hates anybody with a long nose, and she hates long-nosed looking like things like sausages. I'm so sorry, young master, just give me a bit of time and I'll turn the whole country back into toys, starting with that detestable long nose and the rest of the Straw Hat crew. So she has a personal vendetta now against Usopp. So I would love to see God Usopp, who has been in it, you know, every now and then now. Very briefly, so not really worth mentioning. Oh, another thing actually I should probably mention is that Koala is part of the Revolutionary Army, which I should have mentioned in the previous video, but I did not. Koala, who we saw in the Fisherman Island arc. So I apologise for not mentioning that, but that was interesting. So anyway, back to Sugar. She is going to probably start turning people back into toys, but I feel like the damage is done now. Just give up. But her loyalty to Doflamingo seems to be extremely strong, which makes her, again, like rather formidable. I'm so glad we have Viola on our side as well. She's managed to spot Princess Moncherie, and she knows where she is now. So yeah, she is definitely proven to be such a good ally, and it's so good to see more allies just like stacking up in Dressrosa. Okay, so much to talk about chapter 757, and I feel like I might have to hurry it up because I'm in a race against the clock here with my Starbucks order. It's a bit like how Oda loves to have like this ticking time bomb on these arcs. Well, my ticking time bomb is this Starbucks. So anyway, yeah, I love this chat. It was so good. So many great moments. Bartolomeo kind of defending and making the stairs as well for Luffy, but like putting the barrier up, but he had to use his powers more on the stairs so that the barrier ends up coming down and he ends up getting blasted, and he's like, oh, I don't care if I die for Luffy, and it's just like, oh my god, what was the actual thing he said, because it was beautiful. I'd be happy to die for Mr. Luffy's sake. Oh my god, I love him. But also the fact that it leads to this conversation with Robin, and Robin says, I understand how you feel, Rooster. Our captain is worth the risk of our lives. In every situation, Luffy is a trump card that leads us to victory. Oh my god. It's just like their love for him is just so beautiful. You won't lay a hand on Luffy. I just love Robin so much. I love how we've got to this point with Robin too. I always think back to Robin during Water 7 in Ennius Lobby and her backstory about finding her friends eventually. And she found her friends in the Straw Hats, and she will die for them. She will die for them. In this moment, she's saying Luffy specifically, but I genuinely believe all of the Straw Hats would die for one another. Like, that's how I feel right now. I hope that never happens. I hope it never comes to that, but this is honestly so beautiful. And Bartolomeo, I would love for him to be a Straw Hat, not gonna lie. I would love for him to join, but I feel like maybe he would be like too fangirly to join. You know, I kind of love him more when he's fangirling on the Straw Hat, so maybe him being a Straw Hat would not be the best idea. It's a bit like, you know, when you have celebrities and they have their fans, it's probably best that they keep, you know, separate in a way, because there is that kind of imbalance, isn't there? So I guess that's what would happen here, but it's just like, I just love him, okay? I hope we see loads more of him in the future. I hope he's not just confined to this one arc. Oh my god, it's on its way. It's on its way, 7 minutes. Okay, Sabo, when he's fighting Fujitora, and Fujitora says, I figured you might spare some sympathy for a poor old blind man. And Sabo says, I don't discriminate. Oh my god, like, that was brilliant. That was genius. So their fight is still raging on. And yeah, it seems like Sabo is giving Fujitora like such an incredible battle. He's not letting up easily. So I'm slowly being won over. Slowly but surely. Cabbage / Cavendish has also been a fantastic person in this chapter too, fighting alongside Barto and letting Luffy and Law manage to go up to the flower garden where they were supposed to go, where they meet up with Rebecca, and then we finally get those cuffs off Law. And also, I do want to note that it was great to see Kairos defend Rebecca and, well, his daughter, really, telling Rebecca that she doesn't have to fight anymore because she's been fighting her whole life. And that is so sweet. That is so sweet, especially since Diamante is the one who shot and killed her mother. And Rebecca has had all of this baggage on her for this entire time she's had to fight, and now she doesn't have to fight anymore. It's heartbreaking, really. And of course, like we see Rebecca crying there, it reminds me of Vivi as well, for some reason, in Alabasta, when I think it was when Luffy said, you need to put us in danger, we want to help, we're your friends, we need to be put in danger for this to happen. And Vivi realizing that breaks down crying. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But to see Law finally standing up without the cuffs on, oh yes. And then Kairos saying, can I leave Doflamingo up to you? And both of them saying, Luffy and Law, of course, yes, you can. This is just too much. Chaotic, yes, but still so easy to follow though, which I'm so surprised at. Okay guys, explain chapter 758 to me, please. What did Usopp do? Sorry, should I say God Usopp? What did he do when he was trying to see Sugar? And like, I just love the fact that we had this chapter of Usopp. Most of it was trying to get Usopp to, well, use his sniper abilities to take Sugar down, even though he can't see Luffy, Law, and Sugar because Sugar's approaching Luffy, and he's like, if we forget Luffy, we're gonna forget like why we're here and things. And one thing that I forgot to mention in the previous arc video that I didn't fully understand at the time, and a lot of people said in the comments as well, so thank you so much, about when Usopp runs away after Robin gets turned into a toy is because he forgets Robin and all of the development he went through in Water 7 and Enies Lobby kind of just evaporated because of that. So it's even more crucial that we don't let Sugar touch Luffy. Because, yeah, can you imagine if she touches him and they're just all gonna forget? There are just so many more ramifications for them forgetting Luffy. In Usopp realizing that, do you understand the severity of the situation? Just a few minutes ago, I got chills down my back when I realized that Robin had been a toy, meaning that I never even knew that I'd forgotten her. If Sugar touches him, we'll even forget about Luffy. I can't stand the idea that our comrades could disappear and we'd never even know it. We've got to stop her. And they're like, what, you can't snipe her from this distance? And I'm like, you know what? I always believe that Usopp can. He is the best. I'm a sniper and backup is where I shine. You know what? Water 7, Enies Lobby Usopp, and Dressrosa Usopp are like my favourite versions of Usopp. The development, the character progression is just beautiful to watch when it comes to Usopp. I feel like out of a lot of the Straw Hats, he's probably had the most of the development time that we've needed. It probably has taken a shine away from other Straw Hats in their development because there have been Straw Hats who haven't been as developed. But Usopp has had moments like this quite a few times that really do add to his character, so I do really appreciate it. But I love the fact that Viola and Usopp kind of work together in order to get him to see, especially since Viola, that is her ability to be able to see far and wide essentially. Although I think it's funny that she knew the exact inches of the bars on the window, 20 inches wide, 16 inches tall. It's funny to me that she knows the specifics of that. And then Usopp, guess what, Luffy, I don't want to hit the seas without you, man. Oh god. The friendship between Usopp and Luffy, like, they are besties. They're all besties, but Usopp and Luffy, they have something that you just can't really describe, you know? Which is one of the reasons why Water 7 is so painful an arc to read. But then, so what is this? When Usopp is looking and he's like, what is this? And then he sees 3 lights, and then it becomes figures, and he sees their spirits. Oh my god! Remember when he saw, was it the Go and Marry spirit or something, when he was in Skypiea and the ship was getting repaired? No, I don't think it was Go and Marry spirit, sorry. It was a spirit of someone who repairs ships that are well loved. So not Go and Marry spirit, sorry, that was totally wrong. But it was a spirit nonetheless. He saw a spirit then, and he's seeing their spirits now. So this ability that he has, so is this hockey? What is this? Like, is this just a totally different power? What is it? What is it? But I love it because it means that he can see them, and then he sends what looks to be a massive, massive thing of himself, and Sugar, again, she gets knocked out because of it. I was laughing so hard. Sugar and Usopp, oh, a battle to be reckoned with. That was unbelievable, Usopp. How did you manage that? He is a god. He is literally a god. I believe it now. I do. Oh, that was just so funny and so amazing. And the fact that he took it down again. Oh, he's just brilliant. We end the chapter with Law and Luffy coming face to face with Doflamingo. Paul Bellamy's on the ground, so he's being knocked out. And then Doflamingo says, I guess I might as well ask, just in case, why are you here? Luffy, to whoop your butt. Law says ditto, and then Doflamingo says, what a disappointment. So Doflamingo, were you really expecting another outcome? I'm sure you would love Law and Luffy to be on your side, but come on. After everything you've done so far that I know about personally, I'm sure there's so much more to come. There is no way there would be any other reason to confront you right now other than to kick your ass. This was so fantastic. Oh my god, it is, well, sorry, at the start of the chapter 2, when Rebecca says, hey Lucy, are you really going to beat Doflamingo? And then Luffy finally, after all this time, because poor Rebecca is thinking that he is Lucy this entire time. It ain't Lucy, I'm Luffy, the man who will be king of the pirates. Oh my god, he says it so often now. You know, when he picks up the phone, he's like, hey Luffy, future king of the pirates. And then when he's talking or introducing himself to people, and he's just like, I want to be king of the pirates. If Luffy doesn't become king of the pirates, I want to be so angry and upset. So angry and upset. It has to happen now. Oh my god, my heart was breaking for Bellamy in chapter 759. Why do we go from one chapter where I'm like punching the air, I'm jumping up and down in excitement, and I was just sitting here almost in tears reading this chapter. Firstly, actually, before I talk about any of that, firstly, in the SBS question corner, we have the warlords where their genders are switched. Yeah, we have a female crocodile there, which, you know, there is a theory about that going around anyway. But this is what crocodile would look like as a woman. And honestly, yeah. Moria is a woman as well. Looks so funny. Hancock is a dude too. I mean, I would. Blackbeard as a woman. Doflamingo as a woman too. So slick. It looks fabulous actually. Jinbei though. Jinbei as a woman looks so cute. So cute. Mihawk also looks very sexy. And Kuma looks just so nice. And just so wonderful. Those big giant nutcracker things. When I said, oh, they mustn't be people because then they would have turned back when Sugar got knocked out. But no, they actually do. They fall apart, and it turns out they were 8 people in one. So that's why they were like massive. So that's kind of terrifying. But yeah, Sugar's out for the count now. Charlie, she's out for the rest of the arc, so no more toys. But Bellamy, seriously, he had my heart in this chapter. He really did. Luffy saying I don't care about the past when Doflamingo brings up the whole Mocktown fight. This is what I love about Luffy. He just does not give a shit about the past. He just focuses on the present and even the future too, and like where they're going, their journey. And he doesn't judge people based on their past, and that's what I love. The stuff that Bellamy did, there are some things that I cannot forgive personally, but Luffy's just... he saw him and he says he changed. Doflamingo says, no matter where you go, Bellamy, you'll never be anything more than a thug. And Luffy's shouting, defending him, what are you talking about? Bellamy did change. Bellamy's face, he's all beaten up, he's crying. Enough, just kill me. Oh god, it just tears your heart out, especially when you see the little flashbacks of Bellamy saying Doflamingo's been like a hero to me since I was a kid. I respect him too much. And Luffy's thinking about that, thinking about these words that Bellamy said about that respect and idolizing Doflamingo. And then this is what Doflamingo turns around and does. And stuff like this really does piss Luffy off. Bellamy did kind of have a dream there. He did want to join Doflamingo's crew, his family. And his dreams have just shattered right in front of him. And Luffy, even though he doesn't agree with that dream because Doflamingo is against him, he still realizes that it was his dream. And his dream has just shattered. And that's just so heartbreaking. So heartbreaking for him. And honestly, to Luffy, I don't think it's about sides right now. It's about people's dreams. And Doflamingo just took Bellamy's dream away from him. Just like he's taken a lot of people's dreams away. And that is the thing that's, I think, driving Luffy forward more. And that's what's really causing him all of this internal conflict. Because then Luffy, he is angry and he lashes out and he tries to kick Doflamingo, accidentally kicks Bellamy instead, which he is just absolutely mortified about. And then Law telling him, what did you promise me, Straw Hat? Letting your anger and hatred control you is just what the enemy wants. So like we've had this conversation between Law and Luffy about being provoked and lashing out, because that also reminds me of Ace when he was provoked by Akainu when Ace died in Marineford. You know, he was so close to being safe, but it was those words, the way that he provoked Ace, that led to Ace's death, unfortunately. And not that I think Law is really thinking about that right now, or like what that did to Ace, but I'm personally tying it back to that because it seems like Luffy and Ace both have this issue with not being able to control their emotions sometimes, and letting, yeah, if you lose your cool, you'll lose your life. Remember what happened to me in the first fight? So Law isn't talking about Ace right now, he's talking about himself, but I'm seeing Luffy's character traits from Ace and the brotherhood between them. So that's why I associated that with, even though it was to tie back to Law's first fight with Doflamingo. So this whole time, I'm sitting here tense as Uck, because first Bellamy had his dreams shattered and broke my heart, and then we have here Doflamingo being so calculated and manipulative, and Luffy trying his best to control his emotions, which is so hard for him to do. Poor Bellamy is being controlled by Doflamingo now, and Bellamy is saying, I'm sorry, Straw Hat, please stop me. I love him. I love him. I don't even know how to explain it. Their emotions are like really touching me, and I've never read anything like it where different characters and different background characters, different side characters, main characters, everyone, antagonists, you know, they all have the same beating heart. And if you can really look beyond actions sometimes and beyond what they've done before, and you take them as a person. And how a manga series has done this to me, I have no idea. But when you start looking at them as people, they are so real, and it just gets me so emotional. There are some characters who can't do that to me. Doflamingo, probably, at the minute, I don't think I care about him in any emotional sense. I don't like him. He's a great villain, but I don't like him. I'm not personally attached to him like I am now with Bellamy and Barto, you know? So I don't know where I was going with that point, but I just think with this new world of One Piece, we are seeing the individual more so than anything else. And you can't just take all pirates for one pirate or all military people for one navy person or one admiral, things like that. You know, it just, you know, you really do have to take every single person as an individual. It looks like Law has also kicked Treble's ass, and I don't like Treble. He's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. He makes me sick every single time I look at him. And I love the way the chapter ended with Law telling Luffy, "You're the worst." And then Luffy says, "Hey, you're in the same generation." It's like, I love that. I love that. Worst generation or the best generation in my eyes. Even though I still don't fully understand that whole concept, I still love it. But Luffy now considering Bellamy a friend. Oh, God. It just... Never thought it would happen. Okay, chapter 760 did give me some idea behind Doflamingo's intentions. Because I genuinely thought that maybe he was just doing this to be evil. Because there are some people in the world like that. And to a certain extent, yes. It seems like that what he's doing is pretty evil. And he does want to destroy the world around him. But for, I don't even want to say good reason, really. But he does seem to have been screwed over as a child. Because, yeah, as he says, he was a celestial dragon. One day his father decided that their family should give up the greatest power there is and live in this cesspool of a world. Live like a human, indeed. What a stupid, stupid man. So this is me trying to rationalize Doflamingo. I'm just like, but as a kid, yeah, if your family does something that you don't want to do, you have no say in the matter because you're a child. And this is such a bad comparison to make, but like, say as a child, I was moved from a school I loved to a school I didn't love because my parents split up and we had to like move house essentially. And that was against my will. And that is sort of a little bit something like that, I guess. You know, like you can relate as a child to having your control taken away from you by your parents. But obviously Doflamingo takes it to the extreme by killing his father and took his head back to the world nobles in order to get his place back into the world. However, they've been already branded as traitors, so they're a line of traitors, and he's now stuck because of his parents' decision or his father's decision. So I can understand the idea that a decision your parents made when you were a child fucked you over into your adult life too. I can understand that. But again, like Doflamingo just took things to the extreme. Could he not have gone to therapy? Could he not have just like tried to just be part of this world? You know, like it's not all bad. There was no escape from his hell, and that's when I swore that I would destroy everything they hold dear about the world they control. The lives you've led cannot compare to what I've been through. I don't have time to waste with you miserable brats. I mean, I must say, there must be more to it than just that. Because if he's saying the lives you've led cannot compare to what I've been through, following your father into the normal world as a child isn't really something that is the worst thing in the world. I mean, it is to him, apparently, but surely there's something more to it. Surely there is something more to it. But I just found that so interesting. We actually did manage to get some understanding behind Doflamingo and his choices. I don't agree with his choices, but I'm glad I understood nonetheless. There's a good fight between Law and Treble, but I could not look at the page for too long because Treble is just disgusting. How many times do I have to say it? Every single hit, every single time he's on the page, he's just got snots going everywhere. It's disgusting. I respect Law more for even going anywhere near him. I wouldn't touch him, not even to knock him out. Poor Bellamy really does want the control to stop because he hates hurting Luffy. Like, I just love that. But yeah, I'm starting to feel like we're going to get some more Doflamingo backstory. But I hope we do, because I want to know more about Law and more about Corazon? Corazon? That person. Chapter 761. Huge revelation about Law there and his devil fruit power. So he's able to grant somebody eternal life, but at the cost of his own life? Is to give the gift of eternal life the immortality operation, but in performing it, the surgeon loses their own life. And I think that's why Doflamingo, who calls it the ultimate devil fruit, gave it to Law as a child, because I think he wanted Law to give Doflamingo that immortality operation, maybe. And also Doflamingo says something about Marijoa's treasure to seize true world power. So I feel like there's some like lore drops in this chapter that's like been really, really helpful. So I was just sitting here just trying so hard to pay attention, because as soon as he mentioned about Law potentially losing his life for this operation thing, did they manipulate Law? Because when he comes to them as a child, he says he has 3 years and 2 months left to live. So did they manipulate him into like taking this fruit, having this fruit, and then being like, oh, you're going to die anyway, so why don't you use your devil fruit to give someone eternal life? I don't know if that's what actually happens, but Law seems desperate. Well, not exactly desperate. Like, when he comes to the Don Quixote family, he just says, yeah, he wants to destroy everything, he wants to kill people. So he does seem... So there's a lot of anger there. There's a lot of anger there, and a lot of hurt. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he was easily manipulated as a child. But we do finally get to meet Corazon, who I'm just going to call Cora, and also Baby Five and Buffalo as children. They're so cute, and you know what? I really do wish we saw more of them in this arc, because I don't think we've seen that much of them. They were the two that came to Punk Hazard, well, at the end of Punk Hazard, to get Caesar. So to see them as children, I'm like, okay, like, they are very cute. And they seem to mess with Cora quite a lot, who is apparently a klutz, but good at his job. I'm a bit confused by the ending of this chapter. He throws Law into a scrap pile, and then Law says, I'll kill him. The very end panel, Cora's on fire. What? But then Law does say, in present day, the reason I'm alive now is Cora, so... To get from Cora throwing him into a scrap pile to saving his life somehow is just insane to me. Chapter 762, Law's backstory. Oh, it's just as bad as Robin's with O'Hara. If not, maybe a bit worse. I don't even think I should compare the two, because both things that happened are terrible. I just felt awful, absolutely awful for little Law. He didn't deserve what he went through. So Flevens is the town he came from, called the White Town. Very wealthy country. There was like a white lead that existed in the soil of the earth. However, because they kept extracting it, it affected the people of Flevens, and their lifespan started to dramatically drop. And that is why, at least I think that's why Law said he only had like 3 years left to live, was because of the toxicity of this town. And I'm not surprised that it's the royalty and the government who knew the truth but hid it to keep themselves to being wealthy and living life, whereas the small people in their eyes, the regular people, would suffer for it the most. And then when they realised what was going on, it was too late for them. They're trapped in this country, and neighbouring countries wouldn't do anything. But then when they try to fight back, they go in without mercy, and there's just so much death and destruction. And then this is when it like broke my heart, because Law had a little sister. He had a little sister, and he was going to go with, it looks like this nun. She is also crying. Soldiers have come and they say they'll let the children go free. And then when he's talking to his sister Lammy, she's like, why is it so nice outside? And he's like, it's the festival, because Flevens is so rich, of course. And you can see him like trying to comfort and calm his sister. And he's just a kid. He's just a little kid. And that, oh, it's so sad. But yeah, it's not infectious. What they have is not infectious. But the government doesn't announce that because, well, why? Because they're corrupt. The government is corrupt. They're fundamentally selfish, I think. They only have their own interests at heart, and they probably don't want to be seen as wrong. If it said now that, oh, it's not infectious, then it means that they were wrong at one point, and they just don't want anyone to think that they're wrong, which is so scarily real. And then, yeah, Law's mother and father dead, and I think maybe his sister too, because the hospital's on fire. But as I say, if you don't see a body, they're probably not dead. So if Sabo can come back, I'm pretty sure his sister can come back too. But it's just, It's painful. It's so painful to read. Levin's the White Town crumbled to dust, like O'Hara was. No wonder Law wanted to destroy everything and he had this much pain inside of him. Did I say this? Did I mention this in the previous arc video or in Punk Hazard? When I was like, for some reason I think there's pain in Law's eyes. And now I can understand why. And the fact that he hid in bodies as well to get out of this place shows his determination as a 10-year-old. I think it said he was 10. Shows his determination and drive to get out of that place. Even though he wants to destroy everything, he still wants to live. He's doing that because of his family. He's lost his family. And now he feels nothing. What an awful, awful childhood. What an awful childhood most of these characters have had. Oh god, so many heartbreaking moments in this arc. We still have so much to go. We end the chapter with Law. I think he stabs Cora in the back, and now Doflamingo is probably going to be pissed at that, even though we know Doflamingo kills his brother. So again, I don't know what is going on there, but it's not good for Law. But I'm going to have to sit and think about this backstory for a while, because it's taken quite a lot out of me. Right, okay, I'm conflicted again. I read chapter 763. We did get more Doflamingo backstory, and yes, I feel a bit bad for what he went through. It kind of ties a little bit into Sabo as well, a little bit, because wasn't Sabo born into a rich, wealthy family, and he tried to escape that life because that wasn't the life he wanted to live. And yet we kind of have the reverse a little bit with Doflamingo, because Doflamingo, he is a celestial dragon, and you know, his parents are world nobles, and he lives a very rich and amazing life that is very discriminatory, but he's comfortable, he's happy, he's fed, and he's born into that role, he's born into that life. And he wants to stay in that life, unlike Sabo, who wanted to leave. Although I know Sabo, his family was just like wealthy. It wasn't anything like Doflamingo's. But you know, the kind of roles there, they were both starting out in a good place, financially, wealthily, and Doflamingo had no choice but to leave that life, whereas Sabo did. So again, I can feel some sympathy towards Doflamingo for being affected by his father's choices, especially since his mother then ends up dying because they do get kicked out of Marajoa. He had no autonomy in that matter. And even the father was begging and begging and begging, because obviously the humans hate celestial dragons the way that they've been treated, and for good reason. Like, celestial dragons are awful. We even started off the chapter with the atrocities that they've done. They've taken people's eyes for sport. Daughter was taken for a slave. She came home and killed herself 3 days later. The whole system is just absolutely awful and broken, and I believe that is Duffy and his dad and brother all hanging up from a window there, where a mob are kind of torturing them a little bit. And like, as a child, like, obviously, this is the thing, like, I'm so conflicted. Like, Duffy's a child, and yes, celestial dragons are awful and bad, but it does break my heart to see a child like this, especially since he doesn't know any better at that point, you know? Oh god, why is this happening? I don't want to feel for Doflamingo. I don't. Like, they shouldn't be doing this to the children. And again, this is something that the Fishman Island arc did so brilliantly, I think, when you're dealing with racism and the actions that we have and how it affects the children around us and the impressions that we leave on them and what they grow up to be reflects what we taught them while they were children. And as we saw with Doflamingo again, like, this is another example of somebody being brought up this way and how he's turned out because of his parents' actions. Even though, like, his dad and mother, they do seem like maybe they learned the error of their ways and they just wanted to be humans and just be normal people. But obviously, there's just too much there. There's too much history between celestial dragons and humans that it just wasn't going to go right. And unfortunately, it does lead to all of this death in Doflamingo's family, especially with the mother, which is so sad. So I don't know what to think about that, because I'm conflicted. I'm so conflicted. And then so we do flash forward a little bit to when we have Lord joining the Don Quixote family, and he stabbed Cora, but Cora didn't tell Doflamingo, so he's inadvertently saved Law. So I wonder if that's what he means. But also, the way that we ended this chapter with Law revealing, well, to Baby Five and Buffalo that his real name is Trafalgar D. Waterloo. And I don't think I knew that his middle name had the initial D. I would have known, right? So this must be the first time. I don't know why I'm thinking, like, was I supposed to know this already? Was I? I don't think I was. So I was a little bit taken back by that. I was like, we have another D. We have another D. And especially since Cora is saying, listen to me, Law, you can't be around him. Especially since he said, your D, Elias. If that's true, you need to get away from Dorothy immediately. But again, I have no idea what this D means. But Cora apparently does, and Doflamingo apparently does, maybe. But it's obviously dangerous for him to be there. And also the fact that Cora talked, because he hadn't been talking before. They said he couldn't talk. So this is obviously like super duper important that Law gets away from Doflamingo if he finds out the whole D thing. So the plot of Dressrosa, now that we have the flashbacks, incredibly picked up. I think so relevant to the grander scale of the story. And I'm just floored by all of these revelations. Trafalgar D. Waterloo. Yeah, that's a shock to me. I think I doubt myself because a lot of the times in the comments, I love it when you guys do it. It's like, oh, Gavin, you already should have known that. Like, it was mentioned in this arc, or it was mentioned in this chapter. But there's just so much information to take in that no wonder I forget these things. But then, okay, right, so that was the chapter. Again, I'm processing all my thoughts and feelings because, whoa. We have another popularity poll, and I'm a little bit pissed off. I'm a little bit pissed off because we only had the return of Sabo. I guess probably with this being weekly, it would have been, what, maybe half a year since the Sabo's reintroduction to this popularity poll. He just beats Ace by 13 votes. 13 votes. Sabo's in at number 5 and Ace is in at number 6. That honestly surprises me. That he's beaten Ace by 13 votes. He hasn't been back that long, surely, by the time this poll happened. This one had 69,472 votes. But we do have Luffy in at number 1 still. I don't think he's ever gotten any lower than that. We have Law in at number 2. Nice. He went up 10 places. I like how it has the previous ranking there. Zoro's gone down 1 place. I didn't realize this, but Law must be like that much beloved by the One Piece community that he would shoot up to number 2 and dethrone Zoro as the second ranked person. Wasn't Zoro always number 2 since the start of these popularity polls? Sanji's number 4. Sabo, Ace, Chopper number 7. Again, I feel like that's a little bit like, because I do love Chopper, but again, I just feel like there are definitely better characters. Nami number 8. Oh, Barto's number 9, which I'm kind of happy about. But Robin number 10. Wait, hang on. Hancock number 10 and then Robin number 11. Seriously, Hancock above Robin. Robin number 11. Marco number 12. Usopp number 13. So he went down 2 places. Why is Usopp the least? Well, actually, no, hang on. Frankie's 16. Brooke is 19. So they're like the bottom 3 Straw Hats. Like, I can understand with Frankie and Brooke being like the more recent members, but Usopp. See, what do people not really like Usopp that much? Bonclear's number 20. Doflamingo was number 17, so he's above Brooke. Wow. Crocodile number 15. I agree with that. Shanks number 14. It's weird, Marco was number 12. He went up from 122 to number 12. Wow. There are so many rankings. Poor Jinbei is number 35. VV 24. I'll not say all of the rankings, but I just find these so interesting. I always love stuff like this. It helps me understand, like, at the time of these arcs, where people stand on popularity and, like, who likes who. Rebecca's number 29, so that's pretty good. Kobe's 37. Sugar's 39. Whitebeard's 26. Perona's 21. I do actually really like Perona. I don't think I gave her enough credit during Thriller Bark, but the more I think about Thriller Bark and her role in it, and then since the time skip and stuff, and being with Mihawk and Zoro, I'm really loving Perona. Buggy 34? I never thought I'd say the day, but I genuinely think Buggy should be higher. Especially after Marineford and Impel Down. Come on. Senior Pink number 42. Come on. Ichiro Order number 50. And it's a photo of a fish. That's hilarious. Akainu, or Sakazuki, is number 47. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He should be at the very end. Oh, they've even got a popularity ranking by genre. Ooh, okay, so best 5 oldies. Number 5 Zeph, number 4 Tonjit, number 3 Gob, number 2 Rayleigh, number 1 Whitebeard. Best 5 Warlords, old and new. Number 5 Mihawk, number 4 Doflamingo, number 3 Crocodile, number 2 Hancock, and number 1 Law. Best 5 Animals. Number 5 Tyrannosaurus, number 4 Camel, number 3 Karoo, Number 2, Beepo. Number 1, Chopper. Best 5 ladies. Number 5, Vivi. Number 4, Perona. Number 3, Robin. Number 2, Hancock. Number 1, Nami. I love that. They probably would be my top 5 female characters, to be fair. Probably in a different order. Definitely Nami and Robin in the top 2 spots. Maybe Robin number 1 because I do love Robin so much. Oh, they've even got the top 10 for all 5 polls. We also have a random chapter 759 plus at the end here as well. And it's Bartolomeo and Robin. So it's probably like a little section of that chapter where they were fighting together. It's such an honour I'm protecting Miss Robin's life. That basically makes me one of the Straw Hat crew fighting for her at NES lobby. Just kidding. Oh man, that would be so presumptuous of me. I'm sorry. And then Robin's like, what are you crying about, Rooster? I love that. And that Robin is using a nickname for him too. Rooster. But I feel like Robin is safe with Bartolomeo and vice versa too. Barto's safe with Robin. That basically makes me want the Straw Hat crew. Yes, I agree, it does. That was a good little mini chapter there. Finished volume 76 and now I'm on volume 77, which is thick. Chapter 764 did reveal quite a little bit about D. When I say reveal quite a lot, it's the most discussion we've had about it in such a long time. And I am grateful to get little nuggets of information every now and then because it's probably one of the biggest mysteries in One Piece. So Korra can do soundproof walls. So he's tricked everyone, even his brother, to think that he doesn't speak. And he's also working against his brother. He says he was born with an innately evil nature that knows no bounds. I mean, yeah, it does seem that way. But again, I mean, he was strung up as a child. I feel bad for even trying to defend Doflamingo right now, but I'm trying to defend that child that they strung up, essentially. I don't agree anything that Doflamingo's done, but I'm still compassionate towards that child. So the secret name of D, that means you're one of the faithful few, the people of the D. And again, I'm just... I have an immature mind. If you don't behave, you'll be gobbled up by a D. I want to stop now. The day will always cause another storm. Yeah, it always does. But anyway, it's revealed that the people of Day are known as the enemies of the gods. So that is definitely new information to me. I did not know this. So the enemies of the gods, kind of like the devils then, I guess. God, devil. I don't think it's going to be that easy, is it? I don't think the D is going to stand for devil. But it does seem to be that if they are the enemies of the gods, then... devils, demons. What else am I left with? If you view the celestial dragons as the gods in this case, then perhaps your people's goal is the very destruction of this world. Which is an interesting way of looking at it. But really it should be the other way around. Really it should be the people who have the will of D as the gods and the celestial dragons as the devils because of what the celestial dragons do and how bad they are for this world. It seems like the good people in this equation are the people with the will of D. Luffy, Ace, Law, you know? How could they be the devils? Again, I'm clueless. I am clueless on the whole D thing. But I appreciate Korra for filling us in on some more information on that. I'm trying my absolute best to not get attached to Korra. I feel like it's worse when you know that someone is going to die. But then again, maybe he doesn't die. It was said that Doflamingo killed him. But again, haven't seen a body. And people come back from the dead all the time, apparently. Maybe he's not even dead. So I'm trying, again, though, not to get too attached to him. It does look like something bad is going to happen. And I just love the... I mean, it's tricky, isn't it? Because I love the fact that he took Law to all these different hospitals. It was considered child abduction, taking Law away from the Don Quixote family to find a cure for Law. But obviously, all of these people in these hospitals, when they are asking Law what his ailment is and where he's from... they just freak out. They just cannot handle it. They think they're going to get infected. And like all these officials, all of these official doctors and nurses are doing this and treating him like this. And it's like, who do you turn to? Who do you turn to? Who can Law turn to? I guess other than Korra right now, who does genuinely want him to get better. And it's so sweet to see him being like, but the next doctor's going to be better. And then Law's like shouting, no. It's like a true parent, isn't it? For better or worse, you just want your child to get help and get care, even if that child is resisting it. And even though Law at the minute is definitely on the right side here because every single doctor and nurse is so discriminatory against people from his town, he is right and he doesn't and shouldn't be taken to these hospitals. But Korra is acting like a stubborn parent No, you are coming. You are getting here. You're getting help. You're getting cured. And I don't care how it's going to happen. It's going to happen. The next doctor's going to be better. But obviously that is just not the case. And Cora crying. He's crying. You might have stabbed me way back then, but it didn't hurt a bit. The pain was all yours, you poor boy. Oh. Oh. Oh, God. I'm already feeling my heart getting strung out my body right now. I feel like this is the most emotion I've felt since post-war. Like, this is the first New World arc where I've been really feeling the emotion. Oh, he just wants what's best for him. And even Law's crying. Oh. You called me Cora. Just pick up the stupid call. And it's Doflamingo. Doflamingo's calling. So I'm just like, please don't hurt Cora. I'm really liking him right now. Chapter 765. The SBS corner at the end of that. Do we really have to have this pervy kind of question from an 8-year-old? Order, are you making Nami and Robin's boobs bigger because you ate the perv fruit? Please make my mom and big sister's boobs bigger too. And make my wiener bigger while you're at it. Boy with a board fruit. Age 8. This child is 8 years old. There are just some questions that shouldn't be part of these volumes, I swear to God. Anyway, we have more flashbacks with Cora and Law, and Cora being on the run with Law and hearing about the op fruit. Doflamingo is going to try and steal it from the world government. Or at least there's an idiot pirate who got his hands on it, doesn't know the true value, going to sell it to the Navy for a huge pile of cash. And Doflamingo wants Cora to eat the op fruit without knowing that he's already ate a devil fruit. But does he really know? Something tells me that Doflamingo knows. It seems like he wouldn't not know that his brother has had this devil fruit and has this sound power thing. Doflamingo is definitely very conniving, smart, and yeah, I don't believe for a second he doesn't know about it. Either way, we know that something's going to go down between them. Law kind of collapsed, and Cora was really worried because it's like, no, you had more time. Please just wait a little bit longer. The fruit's just around the corner. We're going to get it. Again, just tugged my heartstrings. I also found it so funny when he was trying to, I guess, calm Law, or at least he knows Law as a child, so he's trying to, I don't know, be fun and funny to him. So when he's using his power to make any sound vanish entirely, and then he's just like, you know, when he like makes these big explosions, and then nobody can hear anything because he uses his powers, and then he farts in one of the panels. And Law is like, gross. What a stupid useless power. It's not cool at all. Baby Five's arms fruit is better. And even Cora's like, damn, I know I'm jealous of her. He's so good. Like, he's such a good character. With him putting his life on the line for Law and to fight against Doflamingo, considering how close he is to Doflamingo, it's so dangerous. We know it's not going to end well. So just him putting his life on the line for him and being this kind of guy, it makes me respect him and appreciate him so much more. Oh, he's just such a great character. I want to see him up high on that popularity poll the next time we take one. And look how proud he is and happy he is when he gets the fruit. I did it, Lord. The up fruit. We can cure your disease. Like, he has no other motivation other than to just cure Law. He just really wants to cure him. But unfortunately, he is kind of caught, I think. And it does seem like he might be surrounded. So hopefully he can get out of this. We do know that Law ends up getting the up fruit. But how he gets it doesn't seem like it's going to be easy. Oh my god, I can't take it anymore. Chapter 766. Still in the flashback era of this arc. I mean, Virgo, he has been mentioned a few times. And we did meet him in Punk Hazard. We fought him in Punk Hazard. And he was sort of, I guess, a spy for Doflamingo within the Navy, within the Marines, as it's mentioned in here. And he himself was a Corazon. Corazon? He himself was one of, well, you know, the role that Cora's in now as sort of Doflamingo's right-hand man, that used to be Virgo. And now Cora, aka, I can't remember his real name, that's the role that he's in now. So yeah, even after Law eats the fruit, Cora has been shot a few times. And honestly, it made me appreciate, I mean, what Law does next does determine Cora's fate. But the fact that Law was so against the Navy and so against the government, he had all of this hatred towards them. He hated them so much that when Cora asks him to take this, what is it, a little tube, this can save a place called Dressrosa, and he asks Law to, I guess, swallow his anger and swallow his pride so that he can approach the Navy and give them this to hopefully save a kingdom. And the fact that Law does do that, he does approach the Navy and gives them this thing. I mean, unfortunately, it was Virgo who he gave it to. He did not know that at the time. And it's just the gesture, it's just the fact that he did that despite his history for Korra. Oh, their bond developed beautifully over this period of trying to save Law's life. And now Law wants to repay the favour and he's begging Virgo to help him. Please help him, I don't want him to die. But unfortunately it is Virgo, and Korra's betrayal of Doflamingo is now known to Doflamingo. Corazon was a Navy spy and joined the family in order to set you up. And now Doflamingo has put the birdcage over this place now so that Korra and Law won't be able to escape. And I'm just screaming because we've just... Defleur grabbed me right now. In the end of the chapter as well. If you ever look back on your memories of me, I want you to remember my smile. And again, like, that ties into the whole Smile Factory stuff. Also people dying and smiling when they die, like Ace and Goldie Roger. There's just so much to do with smiling, I've realised. Is this important? Is this a thing that's going to come back up? Is it just an added element to Oda's storytelling, that we just have this sort of smile thing there? Maybe it doesn't mean anything, it's just a recurring motif or something. I don't know. But I hate Virgo. I feel like I should take a break, but I kind of want to finish this volume, then take a break. Chapter 767, how dare you? How dare you? Ugh. I love you. Really? Did you have to do that to me? How traumatizing for Law to hear the shot that ends up killing the person who looked after him the past 6 months. The person who went out of his way, essentially sacrificed his life for him. No wonder Law is saying in the present day, Korra saved my life. The reason I'm here is because of Korra. And yes, I mean, I think his real name is Rosinante, but I'm just going to call him Korra because that's what I'm used to. But it's the panel when he gets shot and he falls back and hits the treasure chest that Law is hiding in. And it's like Law is trapped in this box, he can't do anything to help. And Korra's used his power to keep it silent too, so even though Law is screaming out and crying, nobody can hear him. Nobody can hear him because of what Korra's done. He's protecting Law to the very, very end. Oh, and the way that he had to lie to Law in order to get him safe. Not telling him that he's a Navy man. And apologising to Law as well for not saying that earlier. But also saying, I'm his brother, his blood. He'll be furious with me, I'm sure, but he won't kill me. And Law believing that, when obviously that's not going to happen. Especially since we start the chapter with the actual murder of his father. I am sorry you had me as a father. And then Doflamingo just shoots him from behind. And I know I said before that, I sympathise with this child, but I don't think I do anymore. Because when you have a child who causes this much harm to others, you have to watch out for them, don't you? Because they do grow up to be serial killers. In the real world, you know, if you have a child who's like killing animals and stuff, you got to keep an eye on them. You have definitely got to keep an eye on them. So obviously Doflamingo, it seems like he is ruthless, and he's been ruthless, yes, since he was born, like Korra said. But part of me was trying not to believe him too much. I wanted to try and see if there was any humanity in Doflamingo. But I think after this chapter, I don't think there's any humanity left. There's nothing in him worth saving. I just didn't want you to hate me. I'm sorry for lying. I feel so bad for Law having to lose pretty much everyone that ever cared for him in his life. His parents, his sister, now Korra. I do believe that now my love for Law has grown so much after these flashback chapters. And I was begging for a Law backstory too. As much as it's broken my heart, I'm glad we had this. And also to see the gravity of Law's hatred towards Doflamingo and how much he needs to take him down. He is desperate now. I can feel his desperation now. And when he's fighting with Luffy and other people in the present day about like, oh, I'm going to be the one to take down Doflamingo, you can really see why Law is doing that. And it's heartbreaking. I have no other words for it. Just as I'm about to talk about chapter 768, an airplane flies overhead. I'm glad the flashbacks are over. Not because I didn't enjoy them, because I love them. I love the flashbacks. My heart can't take any more. Can't take anymore. So I just want the fighting now. I'm happy for the fighting. Usually fights are my biggest takeaway from One Piece, or like the things I love the most. But it's very easy to forget that these fights are going on when we have focused so much on these flashbacks recently. Like it feels like Zoro's been fighting Pika forever. So it'll be good to get back on our shit. And I did love the fact that Viola did bring us up to speed with who's still in the game. Because again, like all of this still feels like a game. It's like Hunger Games up in here. We have Senior Pink, Pika, Diamante, Doflamingo, Treble, Gladius, Dillinger, Leo G, Baby 5, Macvice. That makes 10 of officer rank or higher. But we still have our heroes in the game too, trying to restore peace to Dressrosa, but until Doflamingo was down, that's just not going to happen. So having Law being this up close and personal with Doflamingo and using, what was it, like injection shot on him, not 100% sure what that means, but it does look like Law is able to handle Doflamingo, even though Doflamingo has seemed quite untouchable up to this point-ish. You know, he does have as many marionettes. Korra was too kind-hearted to pull the trigger that day, so I've come to do it for him. You can't see it, but this... And I also know that Corazon means heart in Spanish. That's just so beautiful. I don't know if it changes anything that Law has told Doflamingo that he is part of the days. So will that mean Doflamingo will want him to stay alive? Because I feel like Doflamingo will still want that eternal life thing from Law. So I don't think Doflamingo will even try and kill Law. Oh, actually, maybe he will. Maybe he'll try and kill Law so that his devil fruit will appear somewhere else, just like Aces did, and then get someone to eat the Ob fruit to give him the eternal life. Because Law's not going to do that for him. Law is definitely not going to give Doflamingo eternal life. So the only option he really has is to kill him and get the devil fruit to appear somewhere else. That's what I'm thinking. And then in that way he can get someone he trusts to take it, who will die for him, and get the eternal life. I've just finished chapter 769, and I have to put some respect on Bellamy's name, even though I don't like the fact that he's going to continue fighting Luffy. When he does his Spring Hopper move, I genuinely thought maybe he would work against Doflamingo, but he does say, I understand that I chose the wrong man to idolize and how pitiful that makes me, but I don't want to be pathetic enough to lash out at the man I chose to follow just because his answer wasn't what I wanted to hear. If I'm going to be an idiot, I've got to say that choice through to its end. This is my final battle straw hat, so indulge me. I do respect the hell out of that. I do. Even though it would be very easy and the right thing to do in my eyes for Bellamy to join forces with Luffy to take down Doflamingo after seeing the kind of person Doflamingo is. However, I'm not everyone. I can't speak for everyone who would do what I would do in that situation. This is Bellamy, and he is holding tight to his morals. He's holding tight to what he's believed in. Even though he got the answer he didn't want, he is still fighting for that. I can totally see the sentiment behind it. Hate that he's going to fight Luffy, but I appreciate and respect him and the strength that he actually has. I gave him up as such a weakling in Jaya. That one punch and he was out. I definitely dismissed him as a pirate who didn't appreciate dreams, and so because of that he was knocked out instantly. Look at me doing this speech thing here. Luffy might end up taking him out in one punch again in the next chapter. I don't know, but Bellamy is holding strong. I loved all the flashbacks and stuff as well with Bellamy too, as he's trying to regain his strength after Doflamingo lets him go, because Bellamy is still alive after all of this, and even Doflamingo was surprised by that. Again, I'm conflicted with Bellamy because he is Luffy's enemy right now, I guess, when I really wanted them to work together, but it just shows you like how much of a surprise Oda has taken this. And also every single alliance that Luffy has with people, even though he has worked to save Bellamy, not every alliance is going to be the same. Not every single person is going to fall behind Luffy and just, you know, follow him to the ends of the earth. Not everyone's going to do that. And I like this exploration of what happens when Luffy does actually do something good for someone and they don't respond in the way that you would expect. So while Bellamy does owe Luffy, he's still holding strong to who he is. One other thing as well to note is that Doflamingo kind of blames Law of giving the piece of information that could have saved Dressrosa all those years ago to the wrong person. If you hadn't screwed up on that snowy day, these kind of tragedies might have never occurred. But Law says, so even you consider them to be tragedies. And Doflamingo says, Yeah, good point. So in a way, Law probably does feel some guilt and some blame on that because he says that. However, Doflamingo does say, regardless of what was in that message, I would have changed my plans and seized the throne of his kingdom anyway. So even though there was some blame placed on Law then, maybe this was a way of us as the reader to take that blame off Law because, yes, that poor child, that poor version of Law did mess up. He didn't know about it, but he did mess up. But here we have confirmation that, you know what, actually it didn't even matter if that piece of paper did get into the right hands. Doflamingo still would have gotten the kingdom. So I feel like the whole point of that interaction there was to absolve Law of some of that guilt. But just look how brutal the fight is between Law and Doflamingo. Like, Law's limb has come off. His arm has... Honestly, it's just so fucking intense. I try not to swear too much in these videos, but it's getting so fucking intense. Genuinely not a lot to say about chapter 770 because just a whole lot of fighting. The biggest takeaway from it for me was that we got to see Pika's laugh. And so I was like, what? Did you really just laugh? Is that your laugh? So now I need to YouTube this. I have no idea how it sounds. And I mean, I don't want to get any spoilers or anything. I don't think I will. If I just search Pika laugh, I'm sure Pika's laugh. Okay, there we go. Pika's laugh, One Piece. So I'll also probably get to see a little bit of the action because I feel like this chapter would translate so well in the anime, and it probably does. But I need to hear this laugh. Yeah, this is the part I've just read. What the hell was that? Was that... What? Oh my god. What? What in the world? I love that. I kind of love that though. I low-key love it. Okay. I'm so glad I listened to that because that just made my day. Ash, look at the camera. Look at the camera. No, don't be shy. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. He's putting his head. Oh, there we go. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Oh. You're not going anywhere. Literally, he's distracted me reading this entire chapter. Then as soon as I want to talk about it, he goes away. To be honest, I don't think I cared too much about the chapter. It was chapter 771. It was a lot of fighting with people who we've really mainly just met in this arc. I mean, we did have Baby 5 there as well and stuff like that. But it was definitely more outside of where we are with like the Straw Hats, with Law, Luffy, all of that. So, yeah, there was talk about marriage. They were talking about whoever wins this fight will get to marry Baby 5. I was like, okay. I just didn't have anything to say about this one. It was just an odd kind of chapter with a whole lot of... I mean, I guess Zoro was in at the very start, but that was about it. He's licking my new One Piece poster. Stop it. But yeah, I don't have to talk 10 minutes about every chapter, so we're going to move on. Chapter 772. I would absolutely die if Robin winked at me. Genuinely. If she called me Rooster... Well, actually, I don't know what nickname Robin would give me. To be fair, I would ask you guys to think of one, but I kind of dread your answers, so pretend I didn't say that. But Robin winking at me, I would, I'd be out. I would be out. That would be me KO'd. So I'm glad that in this chapter we had more of the people who I'm more invested in. Obviously, I want all of the good guys to be fine and safe and stuff. So the previous chapter, there were some good guys fighting, but again, I'm more invested in the characters where the names I can remember them. So like say Cavendish and Barto, the way that they kind of fight one another while fighting other people is just so hilarious. So Barto has a barrier up and finally lets Cavendish in, and then they're just like fighting. And Cavendish is like, forget it, I'm going on the attack, let me out. What? I let you in, and next you want to be let out? At least stay a while and relax, man. Don't be so selfish. What is this, a hotel? It's like silly stuff amongst all of this serious fighting. I feel like Dressrosa has been one of the most funniest, but also one of the most heartbreaking arcs that I've read so far. The humor's everywhere, and because we have so many different kinds of characters, it's just more evident that it's just so funny. So he does let Cavendish back out. Robin is on her way to try and save Rebecca, or at least she's knows that she's in danger, so she wants to help. But then yeah, she winks over at Barto, who protects her, and he's like, she winked at me. Oh my god. I'm not worthy. Man, I'm feeling pumped up though. Oh my god. I didn't think I could love him more, and I keep loving him more. Dallinger though, I haven't mentioned Dallinger much, but wow, this right here, stuff of nightmares. Probably scarier than the majority of Thriller Bark right there. Terrifying, but the alter ego, I can't remember the name of the alter ego of Cavendish, comes at, which means Cavendish must have fallen asleep. How? Through all of this, how did he fall asleep? But yeah, his alter egos kind of come through, and I think KO'd Dellinger, so I think Dellinger's down. So like we are getting some of the big bads falling right now, so it means that, I mean, I still have what, like 20 odd chapters left, 26, 27 chapters left. So, you know, now we should be getting a lot of the big players falling, I would imagine. Oh my god, chapter 773 put me through it. For a second there, I thought Bartol would die because he put the barrier around himself and Gladius, and when Gladius was gonna, well, he did unleash his poisonous spikes, and Bartol put that shield up to protect Robin. I genuinely thought Bartol was dead. I thought this is going to blast him to bits. He's going to be severed in all different bits. But fortunately, he seems to be fine. How? I do not know. I do not know, but I'm just grateful. So grateful that he's fine. Just honestly, really do appreciate everything he's doing. Just how far he's going to protect Robin. And even when he thinks that Robin didn't make it, he's like, don't worry, Luffy, I want to make sure that I get stronger to be worthy enough to protect you. Barto and Bon Clay are two of my, like, all-time favourites now. Like, seriously. The way that they go out of their way when they really don't have to, really. You know, they're not the Straw Hats, they're not part of the Straw Hats, but they do it anyway because they love Luffy. And when I remember Bon Clay and Impel Down and what he did for him, I'm just... And now Bartle, what he's doing for them too. Ah, I love them. Also, Cavendish as well, I have to give major respect to too. Fighting his alter ego so badly. It's like, there was a half and half moment as well when it looked like his alter ego was taking over him, but then also his regular personality was still there too. Like, that itself was a pretty epic fight with himself. And especially with him being trapped by Robin's arms and hands, and he still wants to try and get Robin to where she needs to be so that she can protect Rebecca, which she does end up doing at the end. She has this butterfly orchid move thing that looks pretty intense and epic and just quite beautiful too. Like, Robin has some beautiful moves. It is still a bit freaky because dismembered limbs are something that I find really freaky. And obviously Robin with the arms and stuff being this, there and everywhere, it is freaky to me still, but I really do love the kind of beauty of this panel. It's nice. It's very nice. And it also looks like Rebecca's ready to fight too. I know her dad is like, I taught you to fight, but I want you to never have to fight again. I love that sentiment because I do think Rebecca's stronger than her father is letting on right now. And I know he knows that she's strong, but he's just like blinded by the fact that he's her dad. So he just wants to protect her by any means necessary. But gosh, again, Hakuba, I think the alter ego was called Hakuba. And Robin's like, what do I do? Like, how am I supposed to trust you? You know, so that whole dilemma there was so exciting to read. Barrier Ball, do your burst. I love that. What a pun. Oh, Princess Mancherie in chapter 774. She is so cute. Bless her. Jola the bitch. She finds out that because the princess can heal people, and that's her devil fruit power, because apparently she had that devil fruit. So, and that's what they're using her for, because now she can heal their fallen comrades so that they have a continuous supply of, you know, soldiers, the people who have been KO'd can come back, stuff like that. But Jola is awful to her. She's like actually like, look at that, it hurts, that's very painful. Bless her. She's crying and her tears heal. So that's how she finds out. So she starts to cause more pain so that she'll cry. Just, Jola is horrible, despicable, awful. And also Jola does have that joke thing, which so many villains or antagonists have in the past. In fact, sometimes not even antagonists. But you know when, you know, somebody says something and they mishear it and they think that they're being called the most beautiful person ever. Who are you calling the prettiest girl in the millennium? Like, at this point, I'm really bored with that kind of joke style that Oda does because so many villains do that. But one thing I did actually laugh at, it's the only time I will let this kind of joke slip, now is when she says, "Silence, who are you calling Boa Hancock?" Just because, yeah, I think Boa Hancock is probably the most beautiful woman in One Piece. It's funny to have that call back there. I'm over that joke now. If we can please leave it in the past. But for some reason, I don't think we will. We'll get more people mishearing compliments in the future too. But yeah, that's my only gripe at the minute. I seem to be very positive because, as I say, One Piece is amazing. It helps my mental health at the minute. I don't have many gripes with it. And when I do, you guys do know about it. I have spoken up in the past about things, for better or worse. But at the minute, I'm just like loving nearly everything. I love that the princess is now saved and that Leo saved her. Love that Leo and Princess Manchuri might have a thing going, even though he did say, "Did you gain weight to gain princess?" and she punches him. But that just shows you that they have this banter, that they have this relationship. So yeah, this was mainly all about Manchuri and Viola hearing everything and relaying stuff to the people she's with. Oh, chapter 775 is going to make me cry. Fuck's sake. I wasn't expecting during a random bloody fight with Senior Bloody Pink I would have a random bloody flashback. I understand some of the comments in my previous video now about me trash talking Senor Pink and me calling him disgusting. Oh boy, am I eating my words now. Oh, how can I be such a bitch? I was so glad to get back to the Frankie and Senor Pink fight because they keep, and it made me laugh as well at how much they were saying about, oh, this is a man's fight, this is a man's fight, and what have you. And Frankie and Senor Pink aren't dodging each other's attacks, they're taking everything that each other can give them. And that is how they're going to win. Like, whoever takes it the most. Why is my mind in the gutter? Whoever can take the other's fists. Oh my god, that doesn't make it any better. Whoever can take the hits more is like the winner at the end, essentially. So Senor Pink does this move, and Frankie is still standing at the end. So Senor Pink knows that he's lost, and he takes Frankie's final move. And oh my god, and especially actually during his move, Senor Pink's move on Frankie, he says, "If I just keep flying, I could say Russian again." And even Frankie's like, "Russian?" And he says, "I also got a son named Gimlet." So I genuinely thought for a second there that he would have, like, his family's like somewhere in Dressrosa and he can just see their house from where they're up. But god damn it. God damn it, no. That's not the case at all. Senor Pink meets a woman called Russian, going on dates, and I love this as well. She says, "What do I hate? Pirates, I hate them to death. What do you do?" And Senor Pink's like, "Oh, I work at a bank employee." Already I'm invested in Senor Pink and Russian's relationship, and they have a baby called Gimlet. And then, literally like 2 panels later, what? Gimlet's dead? So his sons died, came down with a sudden fever the day you disappeared, but it was too late. And then she finds out about Senor Pink's true job, and she ends up getting into a landslide that leaves her in a vegetative state. And then this was when I was like, okay, I can feel where this is going. I know where this is going. He puts on Gimlet's baby bonnet while she is in this state, and she grins. She grins, she smiles, she actually responds to him while he's wearing the bonnet of their dead child. Just like, fuck sake, why? Why? So even though a lot of people are giving him grief about him like losing his mind, about his fashion sense, people calling him a pervert, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He is just trying to make his wife happy. And the only time you smile for me is when I wear these clothes. So I was also one of those people calling Senor Pink all the names under the sun, calling him disgusting and weird. And we find out why. That is just as emotional as Lo's backstory as well. I feel like because of the, and you know what, all of the backstories in this have been so emotional. But you know, we had Rebecca's quite early on in part one. We had Lo's in this part, and now Senor Pink. Again, I just did not expect that. And it was beautiful, honestly. Frankie asked him, what are you thinking back on as you cry, brother? If we should ever cross paths again, let's share some drinks and you can tell me about the woman named Russian. Oh my god. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's genuinely, it's trying to pull the tears out of me. I can feel myself getting emotional. The roof in my mouth is heavy, but it hasn't got me just yet. I'm not physically crying just yet, but I want to. I want to so badly because I have all of this trauma from One Piece just piling up and piling up and piling up, and I just know I'm going to explode. I'm going to explode. I feel like I haven't properly cried in One Piece since Ace's death, and I feel it brewing. I feel it brewing. And my eyes are keeping them in. I think my brain as well. It's like you can't cry, you can't shed any more tears in One Piece. You can't do it. You can't do it. Otherwise, you'll die. Like, that's what my brain's telling me right now. So all my emotions are trapped inside. But I know that these emotions are going to spill over one day. They're going to spill over. Potentially in a future chapter. Who knows? But that was volume 77 complete. I'm now going on to volume 78. Oh, I love that cover. I seem to love every cover. Okay, but also it's nearly 7 p.m. I should really make some food. I need to clean. I also need to play with the cats. We're going to see how we get on today with the rest of One Piece. I've just finished chapter 776 and I believe I mentioned, a good few chapters back about how I wanted Rebecca to fight, but I totally missed the mark on that one because yeah, I forgot from the first part how Rebecca never hurts her opponents. And even though I do still wish that I would get like more battles with Rebecca, I can definitely appreciate her father seeing her mother in her, and he said something about her being in her hands. Beautiful and pristine, the soul of your mother Scarlet still resides in those hands. It's still really sad because you're still getting little flashes back to the flashback of Kairos and Scarlet and Rebecca. We've had those flashbacks a lot though, so it's not like it's hitting me right now. And I know I said as well in the previous video, there was only one flashback I didn't care for when it came to Kairos, and that was his teenage years, his sort of training. That part I didn't really care that much for. But Rebecca's backstory in general and Kairos being turned into a toy, people forgetting him, that did absolutely break my heart. It was very sad. But yeah, it was just the Kairos's teenage years that I didn't care for. And also even now, because we are still getting these flashes to that backstory, because I've seen it so many times already, at the minute I'm just like, okay, like we're getting these flashbacks again, that's fine. Let's just get to the fight and let's have Kairos take down Diamante and move on, essentially. Let's move on from him. He does a lot of this. This was a powerful moment though, of Kairos walking through the sort of shower of Diamante's ripple release thing, where there are these like really sharp blades falling down, and Kairos is amazing at deflecting them, but then Diamante shoots him in the leg, causing him to sort of drop and then also get hit by all of these flying things that are falling down on him, and he just absolutely does not care. He's still going. He is still going to fight Diamante. If I am solid anything, then I am this country's solid rage, here to vanquish you. It's like, damn, I would not want to go up against him. He is an incredible guy, and it looks like he finally took down Diamante, so I'm happy about that. Robin didn't do a whole lot. She managed to protect Rebecca, which is all she wanted to do when she entered this fight. I think she realised that this was a fight between Kairos and Diamante. It had to happen. She couldn't really step in, but she did what she wanted to do in protecting Rebecca. Yeah, another chapter down. I had some food, and not gonna lie, I had another cappuccino. Even though it's 9:30 p.m, I've had a coffee. I want to finish this volume tonight. I really do. I'm gonna finish this volume tonight and finish Dressrosa in the morning. I swear, I'm gonna stop reading these SBS question corners. 2 10-year-olds are asking why Nami's and Robin's breasts are getting bigger. They're 10. Is this a joke? Are they just pretending these people who are sending things into the SBS question corner are actually this age? Is this like all a joke? An 8-year-old? 10-year-olds? Come on. Anyway, I finished chapter 777. And oh my god, Zoro! Like, I love the fact that he was going through different plans in his head. Like, what plan's going to work? Can I shout really loud? No, that's not going to work. Should I warn them on a transponder snail? That's not going to work. Let's go with plan 5. Fly through the air and cut him down. What? I can't wait to see this happen. Oh, and I love it when he gets his bandana on as well. And he just gives that look, you know. Got the sword in the mouth. He's got his eye wide open with that mischievous look in it. Oh, God, I'm just so excited. I need Zoro to finally bloody take him down because this has been going on a long time. But the whole Zoro and Pika fight has been one of my favourite parts of this arc. So I just need attention on it. I need to focus on it because I do love that it's happening, but it's been so fragmented amongst all the other chaos that I'm ready for this fight to be the focus right now so that I can focus on it, you know? Also, at the very start of this chapter, my heart was in my mouth. Robin was hurt. She was hit by the things that were falling down. She managed to protect Rebecca, but when you look at her back, she's dripping with blood. And she drops to her knees as well. Oh my gosh, is she okay? Is she okay? She doesn't even say anything by the end of the chapter either. She's still awake and seeing everything happen, and especially when it comes to Zoro and Pika, she seems to be fine, but like her back is bleeding, man. She needs medical attention. This is why we need Chopper. I need Chopper back so badly right now. I love that Zoro's chasing Pika around, and I love Pika's powers too, and he's shot up through the ground, and just having this huge frame, it's just so terrifying. He's massive, and just like, how is Zoro going to take him down? But then I'm like, it's Zoro, that's how. Fuck yes, 778 blew me away. It blew me away. Oh, that fight. Zoro literally did end up flying through the bloody air and just totally dissected him, whatever you want to call it. Just like boom, boom, boom with Pika. Split him right down the middle and along and that way. Oh my gosh. Wow. I'm speechless. Everyone has the same expression I had. The billion-fold world, Trichilio Cosm. That was a terrible pronunciation. Well, this is the best panel ever. See, I'm sure this would look amazing in the anime, but I feel like this was beautifully portrayed in the manga. The panels, perfect. I can see where Zoro is. I can see what he's done. I can see Pika falling apart. I can see the consequences of this. And then when Pika says, I am invincible when infused with Haki, and then Zoro, that's assuming your Haki's greater than mine. And then boom! 9 mountains, 8 seas, nothing I cannot cut, 3,000 worlds. Oh, I am obsessed. Oh, and I love the fact that we tied into King Riku, who had that one punch, the King Punch, and Zoro told him to just wait 3 minutes to use it or something. And then the huge body of Pika, the stone body of Pika is falling down from the sky. And then everyone's like, oh my god, we're gonna die, save us. And then, obviously, that's when he uses the King Punch. And he's like, you think my King Punch is only fit to be a glorified stone sweeper? I'll get you for this. And Zoro ends the chapter, solid execution. Like, oh my god, that was a fantastic fight. That was a fantastic plan. It was so smart. I just don't know if Zoro would have come up with this smarter plan before the time skip. I could be wrong on that, but it just feels like this was development. This was development from his previous fighting styles. He was really seeing everything. He was connecting the dots. He was thinking ahead. Fucking fantastic. Blew me away. Favourite fight of the arc. Also in the cover story, Jinbei came across a poneglyph. So hopefully, didn't he say that he was going to meet the Straw Hats again? Maybe he can bring it to Robin to decipher. But it does look a bit heavy, so you probably won't do that. Oh man, chapter 779 really hurt. And also don't mind the sort of neck fan. It's just roasting up here, okay? But I want to lie on the bed with Ash. Ash is here, by the way. He says hi. How do I even talk about this Bellamy fight? I mean, I was frustrated with the fact that he would continue to fight Luffy even after everything that's happened in this arc. But considering Bellamy, well, what Bellamy said in the previous chapter that I already mentioned, that means everything to Bellamy. You know, joining Doflamingo's family was everything to him. So even though he's fighting Luffy, he wants Doflamingo to remember him. Luffy says there's no worth in risking your life for his sake, and Bellamy says that's for me to decide. And I just love the idea of Bellamy making his own choices. You know what, honestly, it feels like he has no choice to do this. Maybe for his pride, maybe for his sanity, especially since we have little interjections from Bellamy. It seems like things that he's thinking or things that he really wants to say. Thank you for calling me a friend. Luffy saying you're wasting your life, and he says no, it is what I want. to have the end be at the hands of the only other man I ever respected. I feel like Bellamy knew that this would be his final fight. Is that what this chapter was called again? His final battle. I feel like Bellamy knew deep down that this was his last stand, his final moment. And he's already been taken down by Luffy before, so like this is his like one last chance essentially. And the parallel to his fight with Luffy, oh hello Ash, I didn't even realize you were there. Hello. The parallels to Jaya when he fought him then, when Bellamy says, assuming you know how to throw a punch, take your stand, you coward. It's just, it feels different now. Are you okay? You're not stuck or anything, are you? What are you doing? What are you doing? Back in Jaya, I was rooting for Luffy to take him down. And when Luffy took him down with one punch, that was the most satisfying thing I've ever read. But we have the same thing happen here. We have Luffy taking him down with a punch. I don't feel satisfied from that like I did the first time. Yes, Luffy is against an antagonist in the sense that Bellamy right now is standing between Luffy and Doflamingo. So Luffy has no choice. And essentially Doflamingo was the one who took their choice away. Because Bellamy feels like he has no choice but to do this. And Luffy feels like he has no choice but to take Bellamy down. Because Bellamy is begging. It seems like he is begging Luffy to take him down. And when he says thank you after being punched, like you can tell how much pain Luffy is in. And it probably tears Luffy apart more and adds to that rage that he feels towards Doflamingo, especially when he shouts to him, I hear a wild beast howling. He better get up here soon or he'll be so surprised, Law. Once he sees your dead body, I don't buy for a second. I do not buy for a second. Law is fine. Law is absolutely fine. That did throw me through a loop though when I got to the end there. I was like, shut up. Shut up. Shh. Doflamingo was lying through his fucking teeth. After this now, I hate Doflamingo more. I do. I love him as a villain, but I hate him. This went from being satisfying to painful. I need more people's thoughts and opinions on this, because again, I'm quite conflicted and maybe slightly confused by Bellamy's choices in general. I've tried to talk about it, but I don't think I've given it justice from what I said. So if anybody can help clarify this Bellamy moment here, then that would be great. Just so I can understand this a little bit better. I feel defeated. I should feel victorious, especially since we just had Zoro take down Pika, but right now I feel defeated. And it's Bellamy. It's bloody Bellamy. Why do I even care? Good old chapter 780. Finally, Luffy is caught up to Doflamingo, and he is pissed, as we thought. I don't think Law is dead, but Doflamingo did tell him, look, give me the power of eternal life, and Poppy Clogs, essentially. He will grant him a request, but Law takes the piss. He's not gonna give Doflamingo the satisfaction of eternal life, but I just love it when Law flips him off. We need to take Trouble down Star because if I keep looking at him, he's going to make me throw up. So I feel like we have to take him down before we can take down Doflamingo. Interesting thing about Doflamingo asking about why do you wear the heart, Law? The symbol on your back, Corazon. What are you trying to say with that? And you named your crew the Heart Pirates. He is honouring the person who did end up saving his life. Without him, Law would have been dead long ago. And we never would have known him. So I feel like I owe Korra so much because of what he did for Law. There was also one scary moment as well of potentially the birdcage shrinking. So it could be that Doflamingo is now causing the cage to shrink. So he's making less room inside where the birdcage is surrounded, which is Dressrosa. So that adds a little bit more danger to everyone else. The whole game about the bounties stuff and like the star system and how God Usopp was like 5 stars and stuff has kind of come to nothing because it seems like everyone is, I guess, on King Riku's side now. They want and love and admire King Riku and they know that Doflamingo needs to be taken down. So that game thing kind of fizzled out, which I'm a little bit sad about. But at the same time, like we're gearing up now for the main event of Dressrosa, which is hopefully taking down Doflamingo. So we can't really have all of these other distractions, especially since I complained before about the Zoro and Pika fight being so fragmented because of all the things going on. So what is it, Gavin? What do you actually want? I can literally picture Doflamingo and Treble singing, just the two of us. We can make it if we try. We end the chapter with Listen Closely, Straw Hat. So obviously Law is thinking something to Luffy. And Luffy, I don't think it's been explained that much, but he can hear voices. Didn't he do this with those sea monsters in Fishman Island, or like the Neptunians or something? And he understood them when he shouldn't have. And they were like, whoa, whoa, this human just understood us. I remember that, and I'm trying to keep an eye on that too, because that's really interesting. But I feel like during his fight with Bellamy, he could hear what Bellamy really wanted. He wanted Luffy to take him down, and I'm sure Luffy could hear that. And now we have this. Then again, I might have confused something there, because Law is thinking, if Law is thinking this, he is throwing this thought at him as if he knows that Luffy can read his mind. I don't know. I feel like there's definitely something I've read and I might have misinterpreted with all of that. Maybe I'm conflating a few things together and gotten things confused here. Maybe that's what's happened here. But anyway, I do think that's Law speaking to Luffy, about to give him a plan. Because let's be honest, Law is the brains of the operation. No pun intended. Yo ho ho ho. Hi Ash. Ooh, okay, so Law's plan didn't quite work in chapter 781, but it was such a good plan, and I genuinely felt like maybe we did have the upper hand here. So I definitely didn't think Doflamingo would be taken down that easily, but I did love the fact that Law did take him by surprise, but it was just the fact that Doflamingo already had kind of the skill to repair his own inner body, which is what Law had did. He'd damaged his organs from the inside, but then Doflamingo can perform emergency care on himself. Beneath the skin, my strings are rapidly reconstructing my organs. I mean, disgusting. It sounds awful, but even Law is like, shit, like this was my trump card. However, Robin did say, I think it was Robin, who said that Luffy is their trump card. And I agree. I love the fact that he stopped Doflamingo's foot from stamping on Law with his foot, with his little sandal flip-flop on. And the look that he's given him as well, Luffy, he means business now. He ain't fucking around. He ain't playing no Doflamingo games anymore. This is it. We tried Law's plan, but now it's Luffy's turn. It's Luffy's turn to just pummel his ass into the ground. And what is Treble still doing, just floating around? I did love when Luffy kicked him away, but he's still fine, but he should be KO'd. Meanwhile, that birdcage is shrinking, meaning that everyone inside is scrambling for their lives. We do have a 1 hour time limit. Again, we have that ticking time bomb. As it closes, it will eventually slice through everything in this country in, say, 1 hour. We did need another time bomb, didn't we? Chapter 72 done. The fact that Treble's body, after all the mucus is off him, he looks like a skinny, weak guy. Like, that's what he looks like underneath all that mucus. I mean, the fact that he's covered in mucus. Like, why? Please tell me he's the last gross antagonist of One Piece. Please, I'm sick of them. Carabao, him, they're just gross. They're just gross. And I'm trying not to judge too harshly because of Senior Pink and me changing my mind on him because of his backstory. Yeah, fighting between Luffy and Doflamingo, we have the Hockey of the Supreme King clashing, which is fantastic. We also saw like how Treble and a few of the others, Wago, Pika, and Diamante, they, the Supreme Officers, raised Doflamingo to be a champion of evil, and they gave him the Devil Fruit, and they just like waited on him hand over foot essentially whenever Doflamingo went through something. So like, say here, how'd you get hurt? Some thug beat me up, he ought to die. Treble goes and kills the thug, and then Doflamingo, I tripped and fell because the road was so bad. The road hurt, what town was that? And then Diamante burns the town down, and one day you will be king of this entire sea. So they have like essentially groomed and raised him to be this awful evil demon, and Doflamingo is a product of them. So again, there is a part of me that's like a little bit, this is what happens when you groom and raise kids to follow in your footsteps, when you raise them with your ideals and your beliefs that are this extreme and this dangerous. They've essentially made him a terrorist. They crafted him to be this awful, awful person. So you can't really blame Doflamingo 100% for the way he turned out when you have those four grooming him for the last like 30 years. So it's absolutely awful. It's really awful. But yeah, hopefully Treble's taking himself down because I just want him out. I want him out now. Chapter 73, Luffy about to use Gear 4. I cannot wait to see how that unfolds and what that entails. Oh god, I'm so excited to see that. The fight is still raging on. I loved Cabbage in this chapter when Luffy shouts to him, I need you to take care of them. And then these are the mind gymnastics that Cavendish goes through in order to get to this conclusion. Needs me, trust, magnetism, popularity. Straw Hat is my fan. Gah, I cannot turn down a request from a fan. Love that. So they're like trying to take Law to safety, but Law is like, no, I waited 13 years for this, and I asked Luffy to do this to take down Doflamingo with me, and if he dies, it's my fault, so leave me here so I can also die. Watch if he wins, die if he doesn't. And then Cavendish is like, well, I'm going to stay here with you too. So I love that. But I also love the fact that Robin was like, Luffy doesn't just take a battle out of obligation, he's doing it because he wants to. Luffy is fighting Doflamingo because he wants to. It has nothing to do with the Alliance, nothing to do with Law. He wants to do it. He wants to fight him. He's seen the injustice. He's seen the people that Doflamingo has hurt. And he even says as well, you made my friends cry, you made my friends mad. And you still won't go down, so I'm taking it all on myself. I won't let any of them die. So Luffy is there on his own volition, whereas Law thinks that it is out of obligation. But I think Law is coming around to the idea that Luffy is fighting Doflamingo because he needs to be stopped, and Luffy knows that. The lighting is going to be absolutely terrible for my review of chapter 784, but oh my god, Gear 4, does anybody else think that Luffy looks a little bit like when he became Oz, I think his name was, in Thriller Bark? Like, just the look of him, his face, his eyes, the sunkenness of his eyes even. Yeah, I'm just getting sort of Thriller Bark flashbacks to the way he looks there, but he looks so terrifying. He looks so good though. Size and resiliency he's learned after 2 years of fighting animals and large beasts as big as monsters. I'm in awe of Luffy's power using Gear 4 because he punches Doflamingo Gum Gum Kongun, I think it is, and he launches Doflamingo pretty much across the city, which even Doflamingo was like, how in the world did you do that? Wow. Gear 4 is incredible. He can use his springiness to fly. I don't know why, but that kind of reminded me of Bellamy and how he would like spring around to, well, he looked like he was flying himself. So I don't know if that is maybe a nod to Bellamy. But he is kind of flying, yeah. Luffy is flying down and he's gonna smack Doflamingo again. This power here, it's just so different to when we first met Luffy and all of that. It's just incredible to see how far he's come and to see his power too. Like, this is the first time we've really truly seen Luffy's power since the time skip, because in Fishman Island there wasn't really that much of a big fight, and in Punk Hazard again there wasn't really that much of a big fight, but this, we're seeing the outcome of that 2-year time skip, the training, what really helped him with him using Haki, and just, it's so incredibly brilliant seeing Luffy do this. I'm so proud and I'm just in awe of what he can do now. Oh god, I'm just so impressed. Oh, my heart was breaking for the residents of Dressrosa in chapter 75. When the grandma falls over and the little girl is trying to get their grandma to come on, hurry up, but the strings of the birdcage are coming towards them. Oh my gosh, like this whole birdcage thing, the way that it would cut them and slice them up and leave blood everywhere, and it's just, can you think of anything more traumatizing? It's so scary. And again, like, there are residents who are giving up. They're like, we're just going to die anyway. So that's why it's a beautiful moment when the previous king, King Riku, manages to speak to everyone and says, look, don't give up. Just hold out 5 more minutes. The last person standing who is against us is Doflamingo. He's the one who's been pulling the strings for the last 10 years. But hold on just a little bit longer because we have help and it's going to be okay. And that was like a really beautiful kind of speech that he gave his people. You can really tell how much he cares for them and how much like they need him too. Like, Doflamingo's fucked everything up in this place so badly. And it's nice to know that people are really seeing the truth now after all of this time. There is still hope, so don't give up. Yes, don't give up. So Luffy, I think, is giving the final punches to Doflamingo. Leo Bazooka, Gum Gum Leo Bazooka, and my battery's about to die, and I hope Doflamingo is going to die too. But really inspiring to see the residents of Dressrosa not giving up, and like, it's okay, Grandma, I'm coming. Oh god, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Seriously, I think the best villain so far in the New World. But I have finished volume 78. Volume 79 is downstairs. That's going to be it for me tonight. want to have a bit of a break and play with the cats. I mean, who knows? Maybe I might finish Dressrosa tonight. I'm so excited to finish it. How many chapters have I got left now? Like 16? Oh my god. What do I do? Okay guys, after chapter 786, I am going on strike from reading the SBS corner. No more. You guys can tell me if anything important happened in the SBS corner, because I'm not reading anymore, okay? I'm done. I knew Doflamingo wouldn't have been taken down. I mean, for one, the birdcage was still up, and that's still the biggest problem. But two, yeah, I didn't think it would be... Well, I'm not saying it's going to be that easy to take him down, but it does seem to be that Luffy needs more time, about 10 more minutes. Did anybody else get Peter Pan kind of vibes from this? And I don't know if this is tying into all of those children's stories that I found have been woven into the narrative, but when Luffy is saying, oh, I just need 10 more minutes, the hockey will come back, and they're like, okay, we need to buy you time, but it's when a lot of the other people are shouting, like, as a token of our apology, we will believe in you and put our lives on the line. And it just reminds me of Peter Pan when Tinkerbell, I don't know if this is actually from the movie or the book. I have read the book, but I can't really remember if this happened. But when Tinkerbell is dying and we need everyone to believe in fairies, and in order for Tinkerbell to regain her strength and in order for her to come back, everyone has to believe in her for that to happen. Ooh. Just fallen off the desk there. So I don't know if that was like a nod to Peter Pan, maybe the whole like believing in Luffy as he's trying to recover from his last fight with Doflamingo. I don't know if that is factoring into this. Don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but I do see a lot of those children's stories in this arc, and it's something I love about this arc too. So I do hope it does tie to the whole believing in fairies, Tinkerbell, Peter Pan kind of aspect, because I think that would be really fun. Gyatz, the Coliseum announcer, he comes in, he's like, Luffy, what do we need to do? How can we help? So I like him. I like the fact that he's trying to help out. And Luffy says, once my hockey is back, I can finish him off with one more move. So I think we're going to have like a little chase around, a little bit of deflection, so that Luffy can recover for these 10 minutes. So that could be really fun to watch. But we are gearing up. Get it? Gear 4, gearing up. Gearing up to gearing up to the finale. And also Sabo as well has defended Luffy from Jesus Burgess. So I hope we finally get that little bit of flashback. And this arc has been filled with flashbacks, but I do hope we get that flashback of when Luffy and Sabo first reunited, because it cut out that section for us earlier. So I do want that to happen. And I think now that Sabo is fighting for Luffy, or at least that's what it looks like, then hopefully we get that moment. Chapter 787. How did the time of the birdcage just like dramatically drop? And now like Luffy's hockey as well. We've got 3 minutes before the birdcage massacres everyone, and 4 minutes until Luffy's hockey recharges. So just like, wow, that time just like dropped. It feels like out of nowhere, but I think it has been dropping. I've just been distracted by the fighting. Also, have I shown you guys my One Piece heat changing mug thing? I don't know if I have, but I did get it a few weeks ago, but I don't know if I've shown you guys. What a fantastic idea from everyone of trying to like push the birdcage back, especially since the Smile Factory is made of Say Prism Stone. So Frankie is getting everyone to like try and push the building so that it can stop the birdcage from really going inside and crushing everyone. But then Zoro's also trying to like stop it. I love what Zoro said to Kinemon. Kinemon says, surely this is not the sort of thing that can just be pushed back. And Zoro says, how do you know that? Rather than complain about how it's impossible, how about you turn off your imagination and help? This is just all the powers of one man. The idea it's unstoppable is absurd to me. Just like, oh, yes, Zoro. This is what the Straw Hats embody. This is something that the samurai hasn't really quite grasped yet, is that the Straw Hats are not limited by their imagination. They are not limited by anything, really. If they want to do something, they can do it. There's just always a way to do something that seems impossible. And that's what I love about the Straw Hats. That's what I love about their morals, their ethics, and all of the stuff that they do together. This should work to try and stop the birdcage from getting to them in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. We only have 4 minutes until Luffy can do that punch or whatever move he's gonna do. Oh my god, and as well, actually, a big moment from this chapter that I loved. Okay, I'm slowly getting on board with Sabo, okay? It's slow, but it's getting there. But it's when Luffy says, Sabo, you got Ace's fruit, huh? And then Sabo says, and no one else can have it. It's all memento of him. I am so happy that Sabo has it now, actually. Like, I feel like I was happy about it initially, because this way, and I said this in the previous video, it's a way of honoring Ace and keeping him alive as they go on. You know, and just like this moment solidifies that by saying it's all memento of him. Nobody else can have it. It's ours, you know. And it's like that shared brotherhood, that shared bond that nobody else will ever be able to understand apart from Ace, Luffy, and Sabo. And then even Jesus is like trying to steal. I'm just like, fuck off. Like, Jesus, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. But I am getting used to Sabo. And I do love anybody who wants to protect Luffy. I do love anybody who is trying their hardest and putting their life on the line, really, to keep Luffy safe. It is what Ace would have done. It's that thing that Roxanne said in their comment on my previous video about how Sabo was Ace's first friend. And that just hit me. I was like, oh, Sabo is a person. I know I'm saying, oh, he feels like a replacement for Ace, but slowly but surely he's like feeling more of a person and less of a replacement. Oh my god, I've got chills. After reading chapter 788, I've got chills. I feel like it's saying everyone working together, trying to stop what Doflamingo is doing. Just like, I love teamwork, which sounds so cliche. I love seeing people just coming together for like one really good cause, which is to save everyone in the town of Dressrosa. And even though Doflamingo is still shouting, "Give me Straw Hat Luffy, give me Straw Hat Luffy," they're ignoring him because they understand the bigger picture. They understand what's more important. And I love seeing that. I love seeing the determination and the power and the skill of everyone else too of trying to keep this birdcage from closing. It's so exciting. I have chills reading it. I don't know if you can see, but I've literally got goosebumps right now. I'm just, oh, and you know, they have stopped the birdcage for a second, really. Like, it seemed to have stopped for just a moment. Just seeing everyone struggle against it. And even Bartolomeo, he is using his barrier. He's like, nothing can get through this barrier. Then you see Robin using her powers to have the ginormous hands also pushing. It just, oh god, it's so intense. It's so intense. And then when Fujitora as well says, "I may not be able to discern your face with my eyesight, but I ain't want to stand by while fools struggle at their task. Though my power might be slight, I pledge it to your cause." And then he joins in. I'm just like, this is what happens when Navy people, admirals, and pirates work together against an enemy, okay? It's magic. It's magic. As much as do I dislike the Navy? I hate the government because I feel like they've just done such a bad job at the world. And I still need to know what that 100-year void is all about. It's definitely a government cover-up. But with, like, the Navy people, there are innocent people in the Navy. And there are actual admirals who want what's best for people, you know? So I'm just, oh god, this is like the most conflicting thing I've ever read. But then Viola as well, she's confronted Doflamingo. Either I die or you die. What a passionate decision, Violet. And that ties back to the whole idea that Dressrosa is a, what was it again? Land of passion and romance? Something like that. It's been a while since I read part 1 actually now. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm sure it had passion in the title of this place. But yeah, the passionate decision, it's, you know, the impulse, the need to do the right thing is a passionate choice. And she's putting her life on the line here to fight back against Doflamingo, even though she was part of the family for so long too. But, you know, there is her whole backstory, which was incredible too. But yeah, on the princess as well, like, she's doing the most. This is my battle. I cannot swing a weapon or vanquish any bad guys. All I can do is continue to cry my eyes out. And you know what? Like, even though that sounds ridiculous, that sounds silly in theory, but because her tears are causing these, like, what are they, dandelions or something, like, flying around, that's helping to heal people. Even if it is just temporarily, it's still a huge thing for this, because if she wasn't doing that, then we wouldn't have all those people pushing back against the birdcage. So, like, she is doing the most. Oh gosh, like, just, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I never thought somebody crying their eyes out during a battle would ever be considered brilliant, but here we are. Oh god, it's just so exciting right now. Oh, oh god, Chapter 789. Part of me was like, imagine if they do this countdown to Luffy regaining his Haki and regaining his strength. They get down to 0 and Luffy's still on the floor. He's just like, 5 more minutes. Could you imagine? I need to take a breath. This is like, ugh, it's taking everything out of me. Honestly, it's just so exciting. I do not know a better word for it. I really don't. Oh my gosh, the fact that Doflamingo is controlling Rebecca so that she will be the one to kill Viola. And Rebecca's like crying her eyes out, and Becca's like, no, I don't want to do this. And Viola's like, don't worry, just close your eyes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ugh. When Gyat's gives the speech to everyone as well, and he makes a good point as well, and again it ties back to the whole you can't judge all pirates based on one pirate. You can't judge all Navy people based on one Navy person. So he says, we were deceived and ruled by a pirate for years, so trusting a pirate for help might be a bitter pill to swallow. So that there itself, it's a little bit like when you think back to Law and his backstory, and when Cora gave him the little thing to give to the Navy people to save Dressrosa, but Law had to swallow his pride, or at least like swallow the anger he felt towards the Navy people after what they did to his family. And he did that knowing what was best in that situation. Yes, it went wrong, but giving the Navy people that piece of paper may or may not have saved Dressrosa. It was an important thing for him to do. Just like it's important for the people of Dressrosa to accept the help of a pirate, even though they've been ruled and deceived and terrorized by a pirate for 10 years. So it's like they have to do that. Like they have to overcome so much internal grief to allow that to happen, to allow them to believe in Luffy. Oh god, it's just powerful stuff, man. Right, I need to say this one-shot KO thing that Luffy's promising, because I don't know if he's going to take him down in one punch. We've seen him do it to Bellamy twice, but I mean, like, this is Doflamingo. But I could be wrong. I mean, they have been fighting for a while now. So, also, has this been taking place in one day? The announcer says, the man who set foot in today's Corridor Coliseum. I'm just like, today? What, the whole Coliseum stuff happened today? How long has this day gone on? Wow. Did he actually do it? Did he actually take down Doflamingo in chapter 790? What? Oh my god, that was epic. You dare challenge me to a mid-air battle? Yeah, apparently so. Gum Gum King Kong gun. And just blasted him out of the sky. Which, wow, I guess that's what happens with fake gods, isn't it? They fall. I was worried to begin with because Luffy does get entangled in Doflamingo's string, so I was like, maybe he spoke a bit too soon about taking him down. But then he starts having flashbacks to Rayleigh, and I always love when Rayleigh appears, even if it is in a flashback, because he has taught Luffy so much. And honestly, like, he is like a pops to him, a bit like how Whitebeard was to Ace, at least in my eyes. That's how I kind of see it. And I just love that relationship, that dynamic. And it seems like his teachings and just really being present in Luffy's mind was enough for him to carry out this final attack on Doflamingo. At least I think it's a final attack. Doflamingo has been taken out from the sky, and his glasses broke at the end there too. In one area, the people of the day are known as the enemies of the gods. But like, come on, like, Luffy's just punched one out of the sky. And it was very reminiscent of, I don't know, like maybe... Who is it? What's his name? Lucifer? And I don't think... Let me just double check because I might be totally wrong here. But you know, in the story, is it Gabriel? Lucifer? Falling from the sky? Like the angel? Yeah, I'm sure it's like, you know, an angel falling from grace. Like a fallen angel. Satan's own expulsion from heaven. And you could probably argue that Doflamingo is essentially Satan. Right now, especially to the people of Dressrosa. He is the devil. And also to all the people he has hurt with all of his black market stuff too. So fallen from grace. Like, this did feel like a fall from grace. This, I don't know if that was intentional, but having the fight in the sky to then have Doflamingo literally drop in front of everyone too, in front of all his followers, so they can see the real Doflamingo, although they've already saw the real Doflamingo at this point. For if God did not spare the angels who sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved for judgment. Is he going to Impel Down? Does that mean Doflamingo is going to get arrested and sent to Impel Down? Yeah, it does look like this is the end of Doflamingo. Thank God. And that was so epic. And I love this as well. Blame your blood. You were born to be human refuse and helpless puppets. I'm not like you humans. And yet you're the one who falls right now. You're the one who tried to take away everyone's freedom, and yet you're the one who falls. Interesting that, isn't it? Someone who tries to control and manipulate, who thinks he's God, who thinks he's better than everyone else, comes crashing back down to earth. Beautiful. Beautiful from Order there. Gear 4 is fantastic. Gear 4 is amazing. But I love it. Oh god, like, that was just so fantastic. Like, one of my favourite moments from Dressrosa now. I think once I do my first reread of every single arc in Saga, I want to make a list of all my favourite moments and just do one big video. Because I think at this point in one of these review videos, I kind of not exactly forgot my favourite moments, but I've talked so much about this arc already that it's hard to accumulate a list. So watch out, I will have a big favourite moments video coming soon once I catch up. Chapter 791 was a very quick chapter indeed, but it really does just deal with the aftermath. It's called Rubble as well, which I found so interesting too, because it was mentioned that even amongst all of this chaos and rubble, not just a diced up town, but a place devoid of manipulation, a land of freedom. So in amongst all of this destruction and death that's happened over the last 10 years, this is now a land of freedom, and this is the result of those years. And it was just so touching to kind of check in on nearly every single person who's been affected by this. We get like a panel of them in the present day, but we might get like 1 or 2 panels of a little bit of a flashback, like we've had a lot of in this arc, I will say. But it just adds more to the gravity of what's just happened and the importance of what's just happened to these characters who we may never see again, but you know, they've left such an impression, a lasting impression, especially since Gyatz is still doing the whole Colosseum announcer thing, and he's like, despite all this, despite this land of freedom, the winner is, and then he's taken a long time to say who the winner is out of all of this. And it's very true to all of those reality shows you've ever watched when they're about to announce the winner of like American Idol or something. And then, yeah, Lucy is the winner. And it's just so freeing. And even just for me as well, I can let out that breath I didn't realize I was holding. I can breathe now. And I can breathe for these people of Dressrosa, who I've only just met, really, and I already care so much for. Thank God Doflamingo is out. Just so many great panels as well. I love the panels of Doflamingo's glasses being smashed. I loved Look to the Sky, Dressrosa, and the birdcage coming down. It's the end of Doflamingo's rule. Oh, the birdcage is gone, and you just see how much it meant to so many people. I just love it. And when Gyatz is like crying his eyes out too, and they're like, keep it together, Gyatz, but then she's also like, oh. Like, you can tell this was a huge thing, and Oda managed to make it feel like the best thing. And then to end the chapter as well, even though Luffy is now down and out because he has used so much power and strength, he still is on the floor smiling at the end. Oh, rejoiced and wept amid the rubble. But we are just going to build anew, tear down the old and rebuild. I was also rooting for Sabo to punch Jesus Burgess in the face in chapter 792. There was a part of me that was wondering, did Ace know that Sabo might have been alive this whole time? But I think this just like proves that he didn't, because what Ace said to Blackbeard after being defeated on Bonoro Island, he said, don't tell my brother. So if he knew Sabo was alive, he would have said, don't tell my brothers. But he didn't. But he didn't say that. He was just talking about Luffy in that moment. And obviously that strikes a chord with Sabo. I've spent time thinking about his last thoughts on Earth every single night since it happened. I don't need you to explain any of this to me. But then Jesus does say you did not go to your brother's aid. For some reason you weren't there. Too busy taking a nap perhaps. And then Sabo says, I've had enough regrets, and uses the Fire Fist move. I do want to say as well, in the previous chapter, Sabo said Flame Fist Ace instead of Fire Fist Ace. And I was like, was that a typo? It's Fire Fist Ace. I should have mentioned that, but like usually when I'm talking about chapters, I do talk a lot about certain things. There's some things I might set my mind. But yeah, I remember that now. He said Flame Fist Ace. I'm just like, that's not what we call him round these parts. But no, I'm glad he took down Jesus Burgess, and he did it, I guess, in Ace's honour, because he uses his move against him. I was going to let you go, but Ace here said you deserved it. So Ace would have done that. He would have punched him. Absolutely. But yeah, it seems like news travels so fast in this world. Seriously, they get the visual transponder snails to show the news around the world. And King Riku is like not wanting to be king again because he feels like he's let his people down, but they just want peace again. So they're like, come on, King Riku, be the king again. We want you. We want you. We don't want these wars. We just want peace. So that's pretty cool. One thing that I think will be bad for Fujitora is that he is apologizing on behalf of the world government for allowing Doflamingo to reign for as long as he did and to take over Dressrosa from the king. So he's like apologizing on the world government's behalf when they probably didn't tell him to do that. They most likely wouldn't have told him to do that because that proves that they were at fault. They are partly to blame for what happened. the atrocities that happened on Dressrosa. The force responsible for letting the vicious pirate hold official reign under the authority of the warlords of the sea system is none other than the world government. In saying that in front of everyone, I just feel like this is going to come back to bite him in the butt. I feel like he shouldn't have said that to the whole world now, apparently. So, I mean, nothing might come from this. We might not hear from this ever again. But I just feel like this was probably a bad move to do publicly. But at the same time, he wouldn't have known that he was being broadcast to the entire world right now. He thought he was just having a conversation with King Riku. Okay, I finished chapter 793, and this is the part of the arc where we get the fallout, we get all the different perspectives from different parts of the world, we get more revelations, things happening, and it's a lot to process a lot of the time. But as soon as I saw Sakazuki, oh my gosh, I wanted to punch him in the face. When I see him on the page, I get this anger, this visceral anger building up in me that needs to be released. So, did not like seeing his ugly mug again, but I did like how all of that came about, because I did mention in the previous chapter how I think Fujitora saying about the world government being at fault to everyone would reflect badly on the world government, and they won't take that sitting down. And it seems like, yeah, Fujitora did it on purpose. He's saying the stuff out loud, what should have happened after Alabasta, you know, taking responsibility for the wrongs that the warlords did. And so, like, which is why I loved also saying Smoker and Toshigi again, and them saying, well, actually, you see a flashback of them, or at least Smoker, with Fujitora back then, saying about how it was like the Straw Hats who brought them down, the world government failed them, and it seems like this is a plan that has been building up for the last 2 years, maybe? Ever since, like, Alabasta, like, Fujitora and Smoker have tried to expose the world government for the sins that they've committed, and especially to take down the warlord system too. At least that's what I think. Like, I'm not sure if it was like explicitly stated, that's just kind of what was implied. Smoker said Fujitora really went and did it. It reminds me of our frustration after Alabasta, almost as if he just righted that wrong for us. So like, they didn't really come out with the truth and the stuff that the world government had been doing then, so we've made up for it now. And it seems like, yeah, this is something that Fujitora might have been building up to in the last 2 years. I believe the Seven Warlords should be disbanded. 2 years ago, I was there in person when Crocodile's entire ruse was exposed for what it was. Yeah, they've been like biding their time. So like, this is just even more like awesome if that's the case. Oh my gosh, but Master Kaido, oh my god, looks terrifying. Like, I can't even say that person. But just the shadow itself, I'm like, and they're one of the emperors, really? But also, because again, like, this is going to be all over the place. The Kid Alliance, when I said I'm most worried about them going after Shanks, it does seem like they are going after Shanks. Our goal is another emperor, redhead Shanks. Like, why? Leave him alone. If that was their plan, it makes the goal clear. They want one of the 4 emperors, Kaido, King of the Beasts. And they're going to set him off now. So yeah, he's going to be pissed now. In fact, you really do see the ramifications of Doflamingo being brought down by Luffy and what that is doing to the outside world. People who have made these deals with Doflamingo or Joker, and they have business with him, things set up with him, weapons that are being brought to them that aren't going to get brought to them anymore. So like, now going to be in disarray, and that's because of the Straw Hat Pirates and Law. That's because of that alliance between them. And now I'm worried going forward, like, all of these people coming after them. But at the same time, there's part of me that's not that worried, because I don't know if they will actually do that. Because I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about it as I was reading this chapter of, like, yeah, all these outside people who will have some kind of vendetta against Luffy now. But like, also when you get stuff like the bounties and things, but you never see anybody actually go after these Straw Hats like for the bounty. You only ever see like the Navy coming, or like the admirals. They seem to be the only people after the Straw Hats. I'm just like, but why do they have these massive bounties? Why aren't we getting more bounty hunters interfering and stopping them? Just like as we have in this chapter, a lot of people being like, Joker can't fall. We have these business deals set up and all of this, that and the other. And yeah, part of me was thinking, oh, they're going to go after Luffy now. But then another part of me was like, we probably might not ever see this happen. We probably won't ever actually see them going after Luffy and the Straw Hats because of what they've done here on this island. So a lot to take in with this chapter, but honestly, I just want to punch him so badly. I do love what Fujitora says to him though on the transponder snail. Sakazuki says, "You're out of line. You've caused our justice to lose all face." And then Fujitora shouts back, "If your face is all you care about, keep it tucked away where it won't get hurt. If admitting fault means your trust is gone, you didn't have none in the first place." I'm like, I love this guy. I love him so much now. I was very impartial to begin with. I'm in love. If anyone can talk back to Sakazuki like that, I love them. Oh my god, is this where I cry? I still haven't finished chapter 794, but I finally kind of have my answer from Sabo in this chapter. We have the flashback that I wanted with Luffy and the reunion. And oh my gosh, it connects so beautifully to Ace and Luffy and Ace's like last exchange. I'm so glad you're alive. Yes, Ace is dead, but at least you're still alive. I nearly lost two brothers without being able to do a thing about it. If you had died as well, I would have been all alone for good. Thank you for being alive, Luffy. Oh my gosh, it's like, like when Ace said thank you for loving me, it's thank you for being alive. No. This was a beautiful, beautiful flashback, by the way. I definitely feel a lot of my, what's the word? I can't think of words right now. I'm feeling a lot of my reluctance to accept Sabo slipping away. Yeah. Oh god, it's just, it was beautiful, like a beautiful reunion. And just seeing Luffy so happy and so emotional, like that's what makes me so happy and so emotional over this. Even if I hated Sabo and I didn't want to accept him, I have to accept the fact that Luffy loves him so, so much. And this has just made him so happy. Like I can only imagine the overwhelming sense of happiness that has come over him right now. The love that he feels for his brothers and knowing that Sabo is still alive and still in this world. And Luffy does say that's a memento of Ace in regards to the Tower Fruit. Brother, listen here, the only people who call me brother are Ace and my other brother who died even longer ago. And then just Luffy's face is just like, oh my god. Oh my god. It's just, it was overwhelming, an overwhelming flashback. And the reason why Sabo didn't go after Ace does seem that he lost his memory after the attack from the Celestial Dragon, and then Dragon does like save him, and he's part of the army. And then after Marineford, when the articles come out about it, that is when he sees the article about Fire Fist Ace. It says here that Akainu tore right through Ace's body, and it goes back to that the thing that they did together with the 3 cups. If you exchange cups, it makes you brothers. And that's what jogs his memory. That's what like reminds him of what happened. And I did get a comment on one of my videos about the explanation, because when I said, I'm going to find it hard to accept Sabo, some people said be wary of like the explanation of it because it doesn't translate that well in English because of the whole ceremony of exchanging cups, like this whole thing that they did. So Sakazuki is a Japanese cup for drinking sake. So it wasn't just seeing Ace that rejigged his memory, it was also the fact that Akainu, but I think it's Sakazuki and that whole ceremony, the sake cups, a formal ceremonial process in which 2 or more individuals form a bond. So like his name itself is the one that forms the bond, and yet Sakazuki is the one who tried to take that bond away, which, I mean, I never would have thought if it hadn't been for the comments, so thank you so much for leaving the comments explaining that to me, because again, I would be so confused as to why Sabo would only recognize Ace now, even though he's like second in line of the Revolutionary Army or whatever, he's the second hand or whatever his position is. He would have seen surely Ace's photo, Ace's bounty before this, so it couldn't have just been Ace dying and Ace being in the newspaper that he died to remind him of him. It would have to have been something more. In Sakazuki, that is what reminded him of it. And I would have missed that had I not got the comments, so again, thank you. But then, yeah, Sabo realizing that he's his brother and he couldn't have done anything to save him. And he's out for 3 days, I think. Yeah, he had a terrible fever. It just shows you the lens of love that Sabo has for Ace. When he said before as well, when he was fighting Jesus Burgess about like, I have enough regrets. Like, this wasn't Sabo's fault. Like, I'm saying that now. Everything that happened wasn't Sabo's fault. And I think part of me wanted me to blame him for, like, look, I'm starting to set myself up again. Part of me wanted to blame him a little bit because I was like, well, why didn't he help? Why wasn't he there for Ace when he needed him the most? But now that that's been explained, I can kind of understand. Well, no, I do understand now that there was no chance. There was genuinely no chance he would have been able to have done anything anyway. And Luffy was there, and Luffy couldn't have saved him. So it's like, what do you do? Like, this is like the worst situation you could ever find yourself in, I feel, especially when you have this bond of brotherhood that's just so strong. And I feel like what the Dressrosa arc has done so brilliantly is tying things back to post-war, tying things back to childhood, brotherhood, stuff like that, I feel. And especially since I see Sabo as a little bit of a reflection of Doflamingo in a way, and how desperate Sabo was to escape that birdcage, and Doflamingo was the one exacting that birdcage on Dressrosa. Like, I don't think you could have had a better arc to bring Sabo back and to tie that into how, like, his return is like quite needed right now. I think I was so against Sabo when I first saw him. Oh my god, I did not need this. But my battery's gonna die, and that's a good way to stop talking about this chapter, because I still need to finish this chapter actually. Okay, I finished the chapter. I only had like one page left to read, so I should have just read it then. Sabo has made like a Viva card. He got it made for Luffy. Like, it's Luffy's Viva card. So now I think Sabo will be able to return to Luffy whenever he needs to, whenever Luffy needs him, which is honestly like quite reassuring to me now. And it's just when Sabo says to Zoro, I'm sure Luffy will continue to be a handful, but take good care of him. And then even Zoro says he sounds just like Ace did. I feel like having that bond of brotherhood being what really reminded Sabo, just again, I think I already mentioned this, it just shows how powerful that bond is and how much love is there. And I don't think I could have thought of a better way to bring a brother back for Luffy. And Luffy needs this more than anyone. As much as I'm still grieving for Ace, I feel like I need to push that aside so I know what's best for Luffy. And what's best for Luffy right now is the knowledge that he didn't fail saving two brothers. There is still one out there who loves him and wants to look after him and care for him. And Luffy, he hasn't failed. He hasn't failed. And he didn't fail saving Ace. I know this. He did save Ace. And it was Ace's own choices that led to his death. But I feel like this is something that Luffy really needed right now. And probably me as well. I probably needed this too, but I'm just a little bit stubborn at the minute to be 100% on board. I will say, I think beforehand, I was definitely 50-50 on Sabo at the end of the part 1 video I did. Now I think I'm more like 80% on board. And I do just want to see more of him being himself and give me more Sabo so that I can eventually fall in love with him, and I will let my guard down eventually, and then we will make it 100% on board with Sabo. After reading chapter 795, I am scared for my life. This is Kaido. I did not realize Kaido being like this. I did see that little bit of a figure in the previous chapter, or the chapter before, with like the horns, and I thought, oh, you know, he does seem big. Not that bloody big though. Have you seen him? He's huge, and also the fact that he just can't seem to die. What? To repeat, this is a man who challenged the Navy in 4 Emperors and was caught 18 times, endured over 1,000 tortures, sentenced to death 40 times. When he was hanged, the rope snapped. Put under the guillotine, the blade cracked. When skewered, the spear broke. None of these people were able to kill him, and he even falls off a sky island in an act of taking his own life. And still, he's fine. What? But also, actually, jumping from a sky island, I did play a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom, I think last week. So the whole falling from a sky island thing, epic. But also, yeah, just what? This is the person we're going to have to fight? Oh my god, no. We just managed to take down Doflamingo, and I'm like, I'm not ready. And I'm sure we won't see Kaido for a while again, I'm sure. At least face to face to take him down. This seems like final boss to me. Kaido, King of the Beasts. He is a beast. He is like, what? And the kid pirates are like right in front of him. So what in the world? Hurry up, Joker, prepare for the final battle. I'm sorry, but he's kind of out of the count at the minute. Let this Dravi will be destroyed. Let's start the greatest war this planet has ever seen. If we get anything more than what we got at the Paramount War or the Summit War, I just can't handle that. And I know it said in the text, maybe in the last arc video, when it said the Paramount War was like a prologue or something, I'm like, no, I can't do that. I can't. Oh, I also love the fact that we got to see Nami, Chopper, Brook, and Sanji and Momonosuke as well again, because we haven't seen them for a while. They are now on an island, and it seems like things are kicking off. I think this is the next island we need to go to, but it is just nice to see them, and they still have Caesar too, so that's all good. Fujitora is also refusing to take Law and Luffy to the admirals, so again, I respect him so much for that. But I'm still like, ugh, why at the end of volume 79 did we get this monstrous monster in Kaido? And wait, hang on, so Shanks was fighting Kaido before the whole Paramount War thing as well? Because didn't it say that Kaido was the one who slowed Shanks down from arriving at the war? I'm just like, how the hell did Shanks fight him and get away? Anyway, I finished volume 79. Now I am going on to volume 80. I'm in the 80s. I'm in the 80s. It's time for the obligatory escape from the island we just saved in chapter 796. I love that Fujitora was using his die to determine whether or not the Straw Hats go or not. And it did seem like he was the one who kind of stopped people from going after him in the past couple of days, but now Lady Luck has run out. It rolled a 6. So yeah, now all the Navy forces are going after them. It honestly wouldn't be an arc without the Navy people coming after them at the end, is it? Luffy did say that he has one last thing to do, and I think he's on his way to see Rebecca, because Rebecca was like, but he can't leave, I haven't properly thanked him yet. And honestly, I'm getting such Vivi vibes from Rebecca right now. So that's pretty cool. Also, we got to see Bellamy again. I was so worried about him. I thought he might have actually died. But no, he is here too. Can you stand Bellamy? And run if I need to. Great, that's good to hear. Oh my god, like, I did not realize that Luffy and Bellamy, their friendship, was something I needed. I know, like, and again, I'm still, like, maybe slightly a little bit confused by the Bellamy-Luffy fight. And I just love Law's response to him as well. When Bellamy says, why didn't you abandon me? Law says, Straw Hat said you were a friend, so I moved you, that's all. Drop dead right on the spot for all I care. I love that, because again, it's just like Law's dark sense of humour. And again, it ties beautifully in with Robin's, who I wish did speak a little bit more. We also saw Bartolomeo as well, and he warns the Straw Hats about it. But again, he's just like blinded by their awesomeness. I just love, but I don't think there's anything too much else I can really say about this chapter myself. Just, yeah, almost at the end of the arc now. Oh, I loved in chapter 797 how Luffy took Rebecca to see her real dad. You know, the Kairos and Rebecca story has been such a treat and so lovely as a sort of backdrop to the action of Dressrosa, and to really keep that heart of the arc beating, especially since Kairos tried to let her go. You know, he was trying to be a good dad, but didn't really take into account what Rebecca really wanted. And I love the fact that Luffy is the one who saw what she really wanted, because family is really important to Luffy, and he could see her true heart's desire, and that's why he decided not to meet everyone at the port just yet and like run away with them to head straight for the ship that's leaving, but to go to Rebecca instead and make sure that this last loose end was tied up in Dressrosa. And it was so beautiful, the reunion between Kairos and Rebecca and how much she wants to be with him. It's just so beautiful, so emotional. And I love that Viola is getting her due as well. She's been great this arc, and now she's going to get to be the princess. I just love that. I love that the Riku dynasty is going to be back into business too. It sounds like Dressrosa is going to be really okay after this, and that makes me happy. The other interesting thing though is that Law has gone missing. Even though he was running with everyone to the ship, he's now nowhere to be found. Like, what? What's going on there? Like, where did he go? Part of me doesn't know what Luffy's thinking in chapter 798 as he attacks Fujitora. But he does say that he does have to beat all the Navy, all the admirals, in order to become King of the Pirates. But because Fujitora is using his powers of, I think, gravity to lift all the rubble up in the air from the devastated country of Dressrosa, and like that could drop at any minute. Like, now it's just not the time, you know? But we still have a few chapters to go, so something must happen to delay us getting on this ship. And obviously it's Luffy being like, no, I'm gonna beat your ass right now. And fair play to him, fair play. I did really like the talk between Sengoku and Law about Korra, and I didn't realize just how much Sengoku cared for Korra. Like, obviously he was in the Navy and Korra's mission was to take down Doflamingo, and obviously he would have gotten to know Sengoku during that time too, and his reaction when he found out that Korra had died on that island tugged my heartstrings. It did. And just shows you that Korra touched more people than we realised. So it's nice to see that his memory is going to live on as well, not just in Law, but in Sengoku as well. And it can just show you that when you know someone on an individual level and you strip away the pirate name or the Navy name, the Admiral name, like, they can get on. They can really feel and care for one another. So imagine if Luffy and Fujitora got on. Although it did seem like Fujitora was intentionally helping Luffy a bit when they didn't attack while Luffy was recovering. So it's interesting how quick the tables can turn. Ooh, I've finished chapter 799. Is there going to be like some massive affiliation with the Straw Hat crew now? Like all of these pirates that they've agreed to, by the way, all of these different pirate captains, their crews, 5,600 in total, join with us, the 7 leaders, and richly exchange the cups of father and son. You're the father figure, the boss. We're the sons, your followers. Let us take our rightful places under the affiliation of the Straw Hat Pirates. I'm like, what? We've made this huge affiliation now with all of these people? I mean, I don't know if Luffy's going to accept, but I think he should, right? Because that means, like, there's a whole network of people who are on Luffy's side, right? And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And the fact that, oh my god, like, this arc has been so good at showing different people of all different races and sizes and coming from different places and cultures, all coming together and coming against a common enemy and pushing their differences aside to do what's right. And I just love that they say Luffy as like the father figure, I guess. And all their followers, like, Luffy's becoming more and more like a god than like this god Usopp who just like stumbles into that. Luffy getting a following, you know, it's just wow. But I love the fact we got Cavendish back as well. Glad to see he's okay. And pretty much all the other ones too. We got mention of Albath and a reminder that that's where Usopp really wants to go to. I really do hope we get to see that place. But it was just so good. And yeah, the fight with Fujitora doesn't last too long, which is good. Because yeah, not the time nor place. But this is huge. This is epic. This is monumental for the future of the Straw Hats in One Piece if we have this huge affiliation. Luffy won't say no, right? Did Oda really have to end chapter 800 with that really ominous message? I remember at the end of Post Enies Lobby when we had that really ominous ending while the battle between Blackbeard and Ace was happening. After this moment, they will each grow in power until they eventually cause a great incident of historic proportions, but for the moment, that is a story no one yet knows about. And that is talking about Luffy and now this whole new alliance thing with the Straw Hats, which I love. I do. And I love the way it unfolded too, because I said in the previous chapter, oh, Luffy's gonna accept it, right? He's bound to want this to happen. And I should have known like instantly because he's like, I ain't drinking this. I don't really like alcohol anyway. And Zoro was like, I'll have it. But it's like about the ritual, not the taste. But he's saying like, oh, cramp my style. I just want to be the king of the pirates, that's all. I don't want to be some kind of big shot. And everyone's just looking at him like, But yeah, that is Luffy to a T. He doesn't really want people to follow him. He wants people to join him on the adventure if they want to. And he always gives people that choice of joining him. And he always wants people to feel free to do whatever they want. So doing this whole father and son's cup thing, this whole ritual, is more like an obligation thing, I think, to Luffy. It's more like a, you have no choice now if we do this. But when they do it on their own volition and they drink from the sun cups anyway, as we see here, that's when it dawns on Luffy and I think everyone that they are doing this out of their own free will. They do genuinely want to help Luffy and the Straw Hats and to be there for them whenever they need it. As followers, we hereby swear to become both the shield and spear of our boss, Mr. Straw Hat Luffy. In recognition of our debt to you, we 7 do give our lives to take these Sun's cups and drink them in your honor. And I was laughing out loud when Luffy said, hey, I haven't drunk any of it yet, somehow it's empty. And you have Zoro there with his like tongue up there. Like he's obviously just drank the stuff that he had to drink, the alcohol, which, you know, that's Zoro's weakness, isn't it? And how Luffy's weakness is food, and he's like, oh, fighting fish steak sounds delicious. You know, just the simple things. The simple things in life keep Luffy happy. But I did love the entire thing with the affiliation. I love that it was more a choice and not something out of obligation. And they have just literally done it because they want to help Luffy. And oh god, that's like the best thing in the world. And now that I know they cause some kind of incident in the future, I know it's not the last we see of this either. So I'm kind of glad we get to see more Bartolomeo, Cavendish, all of that. That sounds like it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, 1 chapter left. I can't believe I'm in the 800s of the chapters now, and we're going to finally finish Dressrosa. So much to talk about with the final chapter of Dressrosa, chapter 801. I'm still amazed at myself. What was that chapter? Seriously, the amount of stuff that happened. We start with Rob Lucci. Rob Lucci is back, and also Spandam as well. I mean, he can't fool me. He's just got a stupid hat on. And I think they're part of CP0. Oh, So I don't know what that's going to entail. Does that mean that we're going to have another Luffy versus Rob Lucci fight in the future? Because obviously Rob Lucci can't have enough. And, you know, he's been taken down once before, get taken down again. And I do want to see Spandam get throttled even more, to be fair. I don't like either of them. Great antagonists, though, but I just don't like them. Yeah, Dressrosa seems to be doing well, doing very well, so I'm happy about that. Moving on, though, we do have a chat with Doflamingo, who is tied up and he is on his way to Impel Down. I believe that's what I mentioned. But then he says, like, but what are the implications of this? Who rules this stretch of water? Is it one of the four emperors of the sea? Perhaps the seven warlords? Maybe those brats in the worst generation. Forces of justice, the navy reigns supreme. However, there is still a throne empty. What about now? The number of pirates has swelled, but there's still just the one seat sitting empty. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is going to kick off the greatest battle for power in the history of pirate kind. Oh my god. This is where the story like really picks up again, isn't it? Like I feel like after the time skip, we're getting into the new world. We kind of not exactly lulled into it because I do really enjoy Fishman Island. I liked Punk Hazard too. Return to Sabo was fine too. Like this is like Dressrosa. This is like really kicked it up a notch again. And I feel like we needed that sort of level of calmness in the story to get to this point where we're back on track with the wider picture of the world and the big battle that's gonna happen to get that one empty seat that Goldie Roger had left behind. Again, the One Piece, like the reason why we're all here, essentially. So I do love that attention getting back to it. Even though we do have these arcs where it seems like it might be distracting from the main goal, the main issue, each arc does, I think, lend so beautifully into the overall narrative. So moments like this do just remind us that, oh yeah, we have just spent some time on Dressrosa, we sorted out the problems there, we defeated Doflamingo, but don't forget the bigger picture, you know? And the bigger picture is always massive. There was also this like really weird moment. Looks like we can't seize Joker, shall we return Captain Jack? Of course we're doing it, you idiot. Who the hell do you think I am? So I feel like they're going to attack the Navy ship that has Doflamingo on it. If Doflamingo escapes now, come on. No, after everything, absolutely not. He needs to go to Impel Down. He needs locked up. Bottle ship. Bottle club ship. It says Mr. Luffy Go, but the English translation was also like that with the Merry Go, but it's actually Going Merry. So I imagine this is actually called the Going Mr. Luffy or Going Luffy. Maybe. Like, that's what they've called their ship. And it has, like, the big Luffy thing there as well. Oh my god, this is so funny. And the Viva card as well, Luffy's Viva card has been, like, split amongst everyone too. So I feel like everyone will be able to return to Luffy when they need to. So that makes me feel so much better too. But even, like, all of Bartolomeo's crew are just enamored by Luffy and the Straw Hats. Boss, he's shining so bright, I can't look at him. Yeah, ditto. I want to be part of this crew. Because I feel like I'm already part of Bartolomeo's crew. There's also when he shows like the framed bounty posters. And they're like, you framed them? And I got all your autographs to the left. And you can see as well, Luffy's autograph just says me. And then we have Sword for Zoro. We have to Bartolomeo Usopp. I'm trying to read it. To my bro, Frankie. And Nico Robin, who's drawn some like hands and things. You can probably see a little bit better there, I hope. And then all of the bounties put up. The thing that's very interesting, and what we end this chapter in this whole arc on, is the fact that Sanji's bounty poster says only alive, whereas all the others are dead or alive. So that's really interesting. Why does Sanji have to be only alive? What's so special about Sanji that means he is the only one out of all of these Straw Hats, including God Usopp, that they can be dead for all they care if they bring him in. But why does Sanji have to be alive? Only alive. And actually, look at this too. 500 million. I wasn't paying attention at all at any of the bounties. I usually don't. But we have there Monkey D. Luffy, 500 million. And that's what the new bounty is in Dressrosa. And then Zoro, 320 million. Chopper, 100 berries. I'm glad it's not just 0 berries like it was the last time. I'm glad he went up. But I honestly wasn't even paying attention to the actual bounties on my mug. But I have the Dressrosa bounty mug, apparently. But still, I don't think this whole bounty thing has really come to anything other than just a stats game. I know Zoro and Luffy are happy with their numbers. Again, I don't feel any tension or any stakes when it comes to the new bounties. It's like, okay, the numbers are going up and up and up. But what does that actually mean to anyone? essentially, if nobody is really going after them, you aren't getting any pirate hunters. Like, Pirate Hunter Zoro was supposed to be, but he's not really a pirate hunter anymore. What does it actually mean? So that's why I was a little bit like, when they were mentioning, oh, all the powers of the world are going to come after Luffy now, or at least all the bad people because he took Doflamingo down. I'm kind of hesitant to be scared about that because I haven't really seen anything come out of these bounties yet. But who knows, maybe it does come up, maybe it is important, maybe more bounty hunters come out the woodwork in the future and I'll end up eating my own words. But at the minute, the bounty stuff, I don't really care for because it hasn't really affected anything. You know? Anyway, that is the entire second part of the Dressrosa arc, the entire Dressrosa arc, and the entire Dressrosa Saga that I have now read. I am so proud of myself. I'm so happy. I loved this arc so much. How do I rate this? The closest comparison I could probably make is Alabasta, and I gave Alabasta a 9 out of 10. But you know what? I think I'm going to give Dressrosa a 10 out of 10. I loved it so much. I did. I thought it was fantastic. I love the gladiator stuff. I love the fighting. I did take me a little while to get on the Sabo boat, but I do feel 80% there with Sabo, and that whole story was emotional. Law's backstory, Rebecca's backstory, Doflamingo's backstory, the whole birdcage thing, everything I freaking loved, okay? You've just heard me talk about Dressrosa probably for like 3 hours now, and maybe 5-6 hours with part 1 combined. It's a lot. It is a lot, and I apologize, and I honestly thank you so much for watching my really long videos. I appreciate it so much. I just love this arc. I thought it was fab. Probably not my favorite arc because I still think Marineford, Enies Lobby, maybe even Impel Down are like my top 3. Maybe Water 7 my top 4. Maybe Dressrosa number 5. Maybe Dressrosa is my 5th favorite arc right now, but I will probably think on that properly when I catch up and I put everything into perspective, when I do my rereads and all of that. But at the minute, Dressrosa is a 10 out of 10. Probably my 5th favorite arc of One Piece so far. I just freaking loved it. Now I'll be going on to the Zao arc, so make sure you do like and subscribe to keep up to date with the One Piece videos. I really appreciate it. So that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all your comments about the entire Dressrosa arc down below. Anything you want to mention from this video. Did I miss anything? Do you want me to elaborate on anything? Talk to me down below. Talk to me all about One Piece. Nothing after chapter 801 though. No spoilers. I want to give a huge thank you to my Patreon and especially my One Piece channel members. If you'd like to join my Patreon or my One Piece channel membership for exclusive live shows, early access to these videos, then all the links are down in the description box. But yeah, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.